Now I'm learning to love, and I'm telling you now, I know a lot of things to do now. Women all chase me around plays. I'm Lancashire Romeo. I'm learning to love and I'm getting flirty. I want to meet one of them dear good time Gerties. I want to get rough and I'll do me stuff, 'cause I'm Lancashire Romeo. I'll mix with dances, and I'll mix with romances, and I'll know all dances too.
Good evening, and welcome to another exciting show. And we just about loaded that intro with seconds to go. And that intro is thanks to Patrick. And good evening, Patrick. Yeah, you really do take off a Lancashire voice very, very well, don't you? But as you're from Wisconsin, it's not bad, is it? And also, how do you get that scratching sound in the background? It's very clever.
That's from the record itself. Yes, it's from the original source.
And thanks, Patrick. And tonight our guest is Patrick. Was it Last Zulu Outpost and cheese ambassador in Wisconsin for Fockham Hall. So there we go. And of course, not forgetting his Royal Hanorak, who is our transport minister for Fockham Hall. And good evening, cheese ambassador. No, not cheese ambassador, bus ambassador, transport minister.
Good evening, Chris.
Good evening. I got there in the end. Yes. Well, tonight we got in chat. We got myself. So good evening, good evening, myself. Here I am.
Maybe for once, maybe you could pick and choose the celebrity.
That's right.
That does that very often.
No, that's a good idea, isn't it? It's an open mic show and mystery at this stage. Who's coming on? So let's make it exciting. And then we got Sam. And we've got Sam Gururi says, good evening, gentlemen and gentle ladies. So that's nice. And we've got Mike Mantis. And there we go. So good evening. And yes, shall we have who should we have? I think Keir Starmer. I know it's a bit boring, but to Keir Starmer.
Maybe we can have the second individual. So Sam, maybe he might want to pick one for 9 o'clock.
That's right.
Potentially. Maybe
Sam,
just a thought.
Good idea, Sam. Let's. You've got a celebrity or politician of your choice that if you would like from us to stick 2 fingers up or 1 finger salute to and a blow a raspberry. So there we go.
I'm not literally sticking the fingers up. There's something like it.
Well, tonight it's open mic, and that is anything goes. So if anybody wants to come on air, the link to the studio is in my Telegram channel. So please go on to my and you can see the Telegram channel. No, not in my crutch, but down in the description below here. So if you want to go into my Telegram channel, you will see the link to the studio. And I was going to talk about entities, and that scene that we've got that is the intro for this show, and that is from The Twilight Zone with Rod Sterling. And I think that man was a genius, absolute genius. I was too young to know anything about The Twilight Zone at the time, but I've become a bit of a fanatic with it, looking at it on YouTube, because I think most, or if not all, the editions are now been put on YouTube, and it ran, I believe, from 1950 something to 1964. And Rod Sterling, as I say, he wrote them, and they were years ahead of their time. And Patrick, are you aware of The Twilight Zone?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I grew up watching the reruns.
Well, and I never knew anything about it until a couple of years ago, because I'm not sure they had it in this country. And then a friend of mine said, have you seen this on YouTube? And I went, wow. I mean, that is really something. And
yeah, they had some interesting writers for those back in the day. I mean, Rod Sterling, and then
Rod Sterling, yeah.
They had another show called The Outer Limits, which was a similar type of type of thing.
But why don't we have stuff like that now? We don't.
I know. Well, people used their imagination more. People read books the further back in time you go. They didn't rely so much on the visual.
Yeah. I think people now are more interested in reality TV crap like Big Brother and stuff like that, where they get to vote and all this sort of crap and spend an absolute fortune on phone calls trying to vote some celebrity out, or like I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here, that stuff like that.
Oh, that's shit, yeah.
Exactly.
I don't have a telly, and the bloody television licensing people are after me again. They're going to send an officer to my house. An officer. No, why don't they? So it's not a human they're going to send, it's going to officer. Are they really? And even though I've told them I ain't got a telly, I don't want to watch the telly.
I suspect the letter you receive, though, says the occupier on it, which isn't
the occupier, yeah. That's right. But
so they can go swivel.
Try and tell them on the internet that you don't want a license. Bloody hell, what a complicated website.
I wouldn't contact them, to be honest with you, Chris. I'd just let them be and just...
Well...
they keep sending me letters and they end up in the shredder.
That's a good idea. Well, Mike Mannis said the Eye of the Beholder episode was really disturbing when I saw it as a kid. And Mike Mannis went on to say we did have it. And The Outer Limits. So we did have it on television in this country. Well, I was probably too young. I didn't realise it. But we probably did. I remember and DJ B2 says, where is it now? I tell him to, I can't say this on air, go away.
Yeah.
Not quite in that way. Now it says here, the TV licensing people are sending letters out to many at the moment. Laugh out loud. Yeah, that's right. But what I like is an officer, that's all sort of official and things like that. But no, but going back to entities, I was listening to David Icke today, and he was bloody fascinating what he was saying. I've never really, as I was cleaning my fridge out, and there was, let's put it this way, there was wildlife in my fridge that David Attenborough would be interested in. I hadn't cleaned it out for a long time. This is the bacterial remains of a cheese sandwich of 25 years ago. And if
you look very carefully, you can see it starting to walk out. like the scene on Naked Gun, where you see the cheese sandwich slowly moving its way across them.
That's right. Well, as I say, stuff in there I've forgotten about. And what I did throw out was some Coleman's mustard. I think it was a prehistoric one,
It was still in a rock jar.
Well, that's right. I mean, my attitude now is if it's got ingredients I don't really want to know, and it's got sugar in it and Christ knows what, I thought, sod that. I mean, it expired last year, but mustard lasts forever. And I'm going to buy a proper mustard seeds and make my own, Mark Anthony said the Twilight Zone was fantastic. Black Mirror is like a modern day version of the Twilight Zone. Never heard of it. Sorry, mate. But not as good as the original. Yeah. Rod Sterling, as I say, genius. And apparently he was a chain smoker, and that's what killed him. It's sad, isn't it? Well, he smoked chains.
You can't set fire to a chain, can you?
No, not really, no. But but anyway, what I was going to say, entities. Patrick, Paul, have you ever had any encounters with strange entities? I mean, I know that the Catholic Church has exorcists, and I saw, did you know that in the film The Exorcist, it was a genuine exorcist that acted the part? Are you anybody aware of that?
No.
Donald Shatter one, yeah. And apparently...
Max von Sydow, he was the head priest in that film, The Exorcist.
I thought he was an actual priest. Wasn't he an actual priest?
I don't think so. I'm not quite certain about the book. It might have had a priest might have had something to do with the book. It might have been the influence of the book.
It might have been, but I know that before he had to act a part, the producer unexpectedly landed him one on the chin, went bash. They said action, and he was genuinely shaken up, and the director did it deliberately to make him look really scared, and it worked. And he said in that part he was definitely shaky like a leaf, and that wasn't acting. He really was shaking. But sorry, you were saying, Patrick. Sorry, mate.
Well, I was just going to say that Max von Sydow, he played in the seventh. I think it was, what was it called? The Seventh Seal. It was the Ingmar Bergman film, in black and white, where he plays chess with death. I'm trying to think of what it was called.
The only chess scene I remember, the sexy chess scene with what is it? The what's the name affair? Thomas Crown affair. And that was with who's the bloke now? I can't think of his name now. He was in the Magnificent Seven, and oh Christ, he was quite a charmer. He was, but he was playing chess, and she was teasing him. This woman. That was in, as I say, the Thomas Crown affair, the original one. Steve McQueen, that's it. Steve McQueen and some other woman who was sitting there, sort of playing with the chess pieces. All very suggestive.
But she was trying
this
to
was
checkmate
the
his
Seventh
bishop.
Seal. Oh, go ahead.
Who's going to say, mate? Is it carry on, Paul? What's going to say, mate?
No, I just said she was going to checkmate his bishop. Sorry.
Actually, I used to play chess. I used to be really keen on chess years ago. I haven't played for years. And until I came up against a grandmaster. And it lasted, I think it's 5 minutes.
I used to play chess. I used to like play chess. But of course, is that Freemason related? Because it's a black and white checkered board.
You got a good point. And I was going to go on to cheat.
Obviously, drafts is the same.
Yeah, I was going to go on to Freemasonry. And I really do believe that it is, well, it's not only creepy, but I think it is some form of witchcraft. I really do believe that. And
chess.
Not chess, but
Freemasonry. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. There's no. What's your views on it, Patrick, about Freemasonry?
Yeah, well, they follow the Kabbalah. They're all into that sort of thing.
Really?
So it's, yeah.
Well, as I say,
I got to be careful what I say because I'm on British radio, so I'll kind of hold back on that one.
I understand. Yeah. I fully understand. I can read between the lines, and I think most of our listeners can as well. So I know what you mean. But no, I mean, there was a hell of a lot of them in architecture, and I worked in an office where there was only a handful of us that weren't Freemasons. And I just find it creepy, and I don't think it has any place in modern society, really. If people want to do creepy things, it's entirely up to them. But I think public servants, it should be illegal for them to be Masons.
But then this is where it gets a bit complicated, isn't it? Because I'll use the FMs rather than the full name. But pretty much every news article I decode links to them. So, like, for example, the 3 train crashes that took place in Spain. The second one of those hit a wall, which is Masons.
That's interesting, isn't it?
And they turn up on. How often do you see a celebrity who's just died and they show a picture of them in front of a wall or that sort of thing? And the same with that, the airplane that was it in Korea somewhere that ended up in a building, and the tail was sat above a wall, which is Masonry.
Look about that P2 in London, that Calvi case, where he was done in. He's found hanging under a bridge with pieces of masonry in his pockets.
Yep.
And that was
Says it all.
Italian one. I mean, all these creepy, bloody, secret organisations are like schoolboys. My dad used to call them overgrown schoolboys. Couldn't stand them. He really couldn't. And I think it's childish, quite honestly. But I tell you what they have got. Like the old dosh. No shortage of that. Plenty of that.
Well, apparently they reckon that there's a lot of infighting now within the FMs, and that a lot of them are now effectively backstabbing each other because obviously their world, as we see it, is falling apart slowly but surely.
I bloody well hope it is in many ways.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's when we go back to things like the police and stuff. Once you get to beyond, my understanding is once you get beyond PC, the Bobby on the beat, from sergeant and above, they have to be FMs in order to get the ranks. So it shows who's running the police force. It's not the Bobbies, it's the FMs.
Well, you're right. I mean, hereditary scapegoat says 13th pillar. Now, does that mean anything to you, Paul? It
Yeah,
doesn't mean anything to me.
yeah, that was the pillar that Diana hit in the
Oh, yes. That's
number
okay.
13. It means a lot to them in their world. Yeah,
Really? Now,
she hit the 13th pillar.
This is going to make your blood boil, Patrick. Mike Mantis said Vatican skullduggery. Not sure.
Well, they did have. I think their role was, the candle to the sun of what happened after the French Revolution. I think they were very on the cutting edge of revolution back in the back in the 1800s, early 1800s.
Yeah,
maybe just before that too. I mean, they go back centuries for that matter. But as far as they led to what is now the Republic of Italy. You go to Rome, and you see all of these Masonic type structures there, side by side with the Vatican and that kind of thing, because they took over the Freemason types, the Garibaldi, the Mazzini, Albert Pike, and that sort, and Helena Blavatsky were all part of the Freemasonic movement and the Theosophical Society. And they took over the papal states from the Pope. And he basically was confined to the Vatican City, which is considered the smallest city-state in the world, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
So as far as the Vatican having the power, I don't really think it's the Vatican itself, but the structure that's put in place to keep it in check. The checkmate. They're kind of checkmated or stalemated.
So the decoding I do of the news and celebrities and so on and so forth, I've been doing this now for 4 years, 5 years, something to that effect. And I have to say that every news article, without fail, no matter what it is, always links back to the Vatican and the Masons. Everyone, without fail, every single one I've done, they always link back to both. They always get mentioned in code in the news articles every time.
Yes. Now, but DJ B2 said would be a way for lots of operatives from many countries to suppress real history. I mean, what's your view? I'd be interested in what's your view about this idea of these vaults in the Vatican that held lots and lots of information. We don't know. It's any hearsay, and I don't know. I mean, there's no real evidence for it. I mean, is there? I don't know.
But no one's allowed in, are they? I mean,
well, Patrick, do you know anything more about it? I mean, does anybody know?
Yeah, it's one of the most spectacular libraries in the world. And then the secret archives, which the official archives of the Catholic Church for 2,000 years. It's a lot of accumulated manuscripts and artwork. And I've been there. It's beautiful. The Vatican Museum, and the just St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. Just
does it have a buzz? Do you feel a buzz about it?
Yeah,
people say there's a buzz.
Yeah,
and, I mean, I've spoken to people that's been to Jerusalem and places like that, and they say there's a buzz. You can feel this sort of buzz there. I don't know. I mean, I've never been there.
Well, you got to. So as a Catholic, I agree that the Vatican is the most powerful institution on the planet, and because it's the Church of Jesus Christ, God Himself. So, yeah. I'd say the Vatican has a lot of power in that regard, but as far as like the current state of the world, I think a lot of the baddies have taken over because men have become, corrupt.
I agree with you. I mean, there was a film, Mark Felton. Now he's a historian. He's got a YouTube channel, and he's a bit establishment. It's a bit but he's good. He does research into things. He was researching into the death of Mr. H, and it was very thorough research, and he went to the Vatican. Now, he's not a Catholic, and him and his wife went there. And the Pope that died recently came out. And he was one of the tourists there, and he came around. He said, it's fantastic. He just came around, and he was in his wheelchair, and, he was sort of nodding to people and doing his sort of hello tourist sort of thing. And he had just happened to be in the Vatican at the time when he came out. So, he was lucky to be in the right place at the right time, and they didn't mind him filming it. So that's quite interesting, that. But it's a place I wouldn't mind visiting. It sounds a very interesting place because They got the Swiss Guards as well, which is very strange. You know,
Yeah,
guards
isn't
from
it?
Switzerland.
Yeah, they're kind of weird looking uniforms that don't fit into
Yeah.
the modern day. It looks like something out of the 14th century kind of deal.
That's right. And Pink Planet said, I was watching David Icke with Joey Barton podcast. They talked about a film called They Live. Yes, I heard about that film, where
Yeah,
man
John
finds
Carpenter.
glasses and he can see the humans that are not really human. You see that film. I've seen bits of it, but I've never seen the whole film. And
Yeah, I've seen the
it's
whole
supposed to be
film. Yeah,
Yes.
it's worth watching. It's kind of corny because the lead actor he had a stage name. He was a professional wrestler with Hulk Hogan and all these guys. His stage name was Roddy Piper. So that was the
Really?
guy's name, stage name for wrestling.
Wow.
The type of acting is very stiff, but the concept is he's convinced by this preacher to put on these glasses that they've been manufacturing where you can see that the people in control of the media, particularly television broadcasting, are controlled by aliens from outer space that aren't human, but they blend in so well with humanity you can't see them without these glasses. So that's the plot, more or less. And then he has to find out where they're coming from.
Now, Mike Mantis, 41, has just mentioned something. I think that Bishop Williamson, the late Bishop Williamson, mentioned, and that is Vatican II seriously weakened the Catholic Church, and we know who was behind that. I think Vatican II.
World War II had a lot to do with that.
1965, wasn't it? Was it 65,
the
I think?
Second Vatican Council, I think, was brought in 62. I think Kennedy was still alive, and it ended in 65. So it ended. It started with Pope John the 23rd and ended with Pope Paul the 6th. He ended up going into the 70s, and I think until like 79, and then they elected Pope John Paul the 1st, who only was Pope for like 3 months, and then had a mysterious heart attack and died. And that was during the whole P2 Vatican banking scandal that took place at that time. Yeah, that's Freemasonry, if you want to go into that. The P2 Lodge, it was called. And then
that's interesting.
3 months after that, and then they elected Pope John Paul II. Karol Wojtyła was his name.
Well, I'm not a Catholic, but I have a lot of respect for Bishop Williamson, who sadly passed away. It was last year.
The Second Vatican Council. It was called because there was a lot going on in the world at that time, like the collapse of the Nazi regime, Mr. H, and fascism in Italy with Mussolini, and then the Allies taking over Rome.
But they did never set foot in the Vatican. The Germans did not step foot, and nor did don't think Mussolini did he? They respected the state.
Well, like I said before, in the 1800s is when they had the Papal States, which controlled most of the Italian peninsula. The Pope was in control, and there were even restrictions on who could be a citizen and who couldn't based on their religion. So it was theocratic, and
that's very interesting.
It gradually eroded to the point where it was just the small Vatican that the Pope had temporal charge of, and so he basically became what they called the prisoner of the Vatican, and had to do, deals in order to get there was a concordant with the Germans at a certain point, because
I didn't know that.
The Catholic Church has priests everywhere in the world. And so it deals with governments directly. The Vatican does, because they're priests. They all answer to Rome ultimately, even though the bishop is the one that has the power in the particular place where they're from. So like in Germany, you have bishops in Germany, but they all report back to the Pope, and he gives the final decision for who's ordained a bishop, particularly. And so I think one of the ambassadors from the Vatican at the time, Cardinal Pacelli, Eugenio Pacelli, became Pope Pius XII after Pope Pius XI died. And Pope Pius XI made a concordant also with Mussolini, basically as kind of a treaty of how they were going to behave between the Italian Republic and the Vatican. But Mussolini was the temporal leader of Italy. He was, the
That's
dictator.
Right. Budget, by the way, the Patrick fan club, one of your fans, has now just sent to you. Patrick is very knowledgeable, so there we go. So that is Mike Mantis, yes, and you can subscribe to the Patrick fan club via.
I just assume they listen to holylandradio.com. That's where I broadcast out of. So if anybody,
please, very good show, very good radio.
Go check that out, holylandradio.com.
Very good listening. That's right. And now Barefoot Foreigner said, I have seen some and by the way, it's on Telegram, isn't it?
Yeah. Holy Land Radio.
Holy Land Radio. I've seen some
Holy Land Radio.
Now, I've seen some fascinating things from Survival Steve about deaths of children in Vatican City on key satanic calendar dates.
Yeah, I'm about to do something here.
But now, Nathan Lucius says, They Live is a great film, lots of hidden reference and suggestions. Apparently, Roddy Piper liked and agreed with David Icke's views. Yes. Oh, hang on, you got another fan there, Patrick. Here we are. Patrick is fab. That's Alice Gorgeous. So there we go. So,
Thank you, Alice.
Don't let it go to your head. It's okay. And
thank you.
Yes, right. The check's in the post.
yes.
Alice
probably works for the government, so it can, definitely.
Everybody's fab. Now, has anybody ever had any satanic, how can I put it?
Run-ins?
Run-ins.
With Satanism?
Yeah. Has anybody ever had it?
I keep seeing the number 616, if that's anything to go by. But my understanding also that the numbers can be deemed as good as well as bad. So, for example, I went down to our local farm shop a few weeks ago and bought some Cornish Yarg cheese with nettles attached to it. And there was 2 blocks I could pick. They hadn't got any price on it. I said, can I have the one on the right, please? She said, yeah, no problem. Put the price on, £6.16. And then a few days later went into town and went to the library to help one of my friends. And the number of followers on the library's homepage was 616. I keep seeing this number. I keep seeing this number everywhere. And I mean literally everywhere. It's
13 it adds up to. I mean, I had a day of 666. And I'll tell you something very weird, and this is 100% true. And I'm going back about 30, 40 years now. My uncle died. And that was one of my comedian uncles, the youngest one. And there was only one sort of limousine for close family to go into, you see. So my sister and my father followed on in my car. And there's a sort of funeral procession, you've got the limousine, you've got the hearse at the front. And then I was about second one back or third one back, I can't remember, and it's driving along very slowly, and suddenly a car, and there's a bloke with a moustache and sort of looked like the devil in it. I looked in my mirror, and suddenly he cut in between me and the funeral procession, and his number plate was 666. I've never forgotten it. It was really weird. 666. And he looked just like the devil, this bloke. And he went off, and he cut between the limousine and the hearse, which is something that you would never do.
Well,
and then
possible
started off again.
It's possible these vehicles are being driven by entities of any sort. I mean, do we ever see the driver in every vehicle that goes past? I mean, we were talking about like NPCs as non-player characters a lot, and are they all being driven? I mean, we know that trains can be driven without the driver doesn't need it. And I did a jury service a few weeks ago, and there was a chap there who got a Tesla. Obviously, he's obviously getting the medication for that, and he was basically saying that when he gets in his toaster and goes somewhere, that once he gets on the motorway, he could physically get out of the seat and sit in the back if he wanted to, because the car will drive itself.
Bloody hell! And that's coming soon. I mean, what was jury service like? I mean, was it? Most people say it's boring as anything. You just sit around
Crap,
most
we
of the
didn't
day.
get anything to do. It was a waste of time.
Really?
But interestingly, it was.
Do you get much dosh for it, or do you just lose money?
I haven't seen anything of it yet. Let's put it that way. But they have 18 people in there, which is interesting because that's 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18, so 666 for that one. And then they pick 12 of the people of the 18 people that are there. Yeah, I wanted to actually see it. I wanted to actually go and pop in. I wanted to see the courtroom because apparently the judge sits 3 steps above everybody else, in the same way that a priest, the altar is usually 3 steps above the height of the congregation, and they both wear black, which represents the dead.
It's a good tucker there. I've heard the food's pretty good, isn't it? Or, I don't know.
Where?
At this folk court, do you get fed?
You must be joking. No, we have to take our own.
Really?
Yeah. They're like mean gits in there, I tell you. But the only thing they get you is a door.
They reckon the best thing to do is wear a suit because you won't be selected. If you wear a suit and look very posh, they won't select you. That's what I heard.
That was where I went wrong then.
But now what we got? Oh, we got more from the Patrick Appreciation Society. From your fan club, Patrick. We've got Barefoot Foreigner now. All the ladies are queuing up. I'd love Patrick's response. He's thoughtful and eloquent. Well, isn't that lovely? So there we are, Patrick.
Thank you.
And we got Matt. Hello, it's Maureen. Hi, love from Truth Seekers Northeast. Hello, Maureen. Hey! Come on if you want. Because if you go on to Telegram, there's a link to the studio. So there we go. And now Mark Manis says 616 was the number of the beast, depending on certain translations.
Yes. I'm hoping it doesn't represent that in my world.
Now, Asperger's for fudge, a cultural attaché. I think it's a lovely name for a cultural attaché, isn't it? Yes, and it's our cultural attaché, Asperger's as fudge. I went to Exmoor, and that place was freaky. Felt very satanic. Yeah, I feel like that in some parts of Norfolk and Suffolk. Well, Norfolk mainly. Strange, but
I do think I don't necessarily feel the satanic side, but I do think sometimes that we step out and we perhaps go into a different world and come back, and I don't think the timeline that we're on currently is correct either. I was watching one of Mark Devlin's interviews, which Nathan was on, and he was talking about that the winter solstice was a month early, as in it was November rather than December. And that sort of links into what we see now, because 3 weeks ago I came back from Stafford home on the bus, and at 10 to 3, literally 2 weeks after the winter solstice, and the sun was still really high up in the sky. Well, it shouldn't be there. I
noticed that.
It should be going to the point of sunset, travelling on by about 3 o'clock-ish, but it wasn't. It was really high. And the birds also around here seem to be very confused because they're now courting and building nests, and apparently it's the 1st of February. I don't believe that's true. I think
there's something odd here.
March.
There's something weird going on because, as I said before, the 1st of April used to be the New Year's Day. But now, Mike Manis said there was a bus in Russia that was the number 666. People complained, so they changed it to the 616. Then someone told them that was the number of the beast as well. Poor sods couldn't win, could they?
you know, in the old registration plates. So when you used to have like A123, CVB or whatever, bus operators would never have a registration that was 666.
That's interesting. And do you know in Switzerland, they take what those things where you have stress lines. I can't think what the name is. Where you go through 33 days and 28-day cycles. Can't remember the name. It was very famous at one time. But anyway, they take people's birth dates and they work out whether they're going to have a bad day or not. And they reckon that the Swiss buses and trains and public transport, including airlines, are the safest in the world because of that. And I can't think of the name of the bloody. What do you remember those? What they call? It's a scientific thing where you have cycles where you have bad days and good days, and it goes in 33 and 28 day cycles.
Are you talking about like astrology?
No, it's not astrology. No, it's okay. It'll come to me. Somebody in chat will find it. I can't remember what it's called now. And it's
I noticed that in Switzerland, I noticed a lot of clocks in like town squares where they would have the astrological cycle in the clock built into it. That's the only reason.
Biorhythms. Oh, thank you, mate. Someone's come up with that's very kind of you in chat and said it's biorhythms. Where are we? Who's come up with it? Warhol Rex. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Yeah, biorhythms. Have you ever heard of biorhythms?
I've heard of biorhythms, but I don't know what they are.
It's nothing to do with astrology. What it was, it's a scientific thing. And you get your birth date and you work it out, and you can actually do it on a computer. There's programs that you can do it. And apparently you go through 28 and 33 day cycles where you're top, or you go drop, and you lack energy, or you top positive energy and things like that. And then you have these critical days where all the lines cross. And when they all cross, don't drive, don't operate machinery, don't basically do anything. And the Swiss use biorhythms on their airlines, buses, trains, and public transport, and they're the safest in the world, because when a bus driver has a critical day, he doesn't drive the bus.
How do they do that if everybody's birthday is different?
Well, no, everybody's critical day would be different, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So if someone has a birthday, I don't know, 1st of June, say, there's 3 people but it'll be on different years. So supposing there's 3 people's birthday, which is very unlikely, be on the 1st of June and the same year they were born, then those 3 people, when they have a critical day, would stay at home. They wouldn't go to work. So that's the way they do it. And I think it's quite clever, you know.
You were talking about the number 666, and I'm on my phone here. I'm looking through what it is that is in the Bible regarding 666, because it's biblical, obviously, but that it's, you know, the Christian books are the New Testament, and the book of Revelation is where you get the mark of the beast as 666. But in the Old Testament, which I would say, like we're talking about Freemasonry earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Freemasonry takes a lot of its stuff from the Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism, and they're heavily dependent on the Old Testament. And in the Old Testament, I'm looking at it, there's a lot that say 600. I just looked up the term 600 because obviously 666 is what the number is for 666. But 600, there's a ton of them in the book of Numbers. There's a book called the Book of Numbers, which I think is the Torah, is what they call it. And then also in, it was the book, the one I'm looking at is Kings, the 3rd Kings. And it's talking about the Queen of Sheba. And, you know, the Freemasons, they based a lot of their buildings on Solomon's temple and Hiram Abiff, the builder for King Solomon and that sort of thing. And this chapter talks about Hiram Abiff building this building. But Sheba would give, it says, and the weight of the gold that was brought to Solomon every year, and by Sheba, the Queen of Sheba, was 666 talents of gold. And they brought all sorts of other tributes, and merchants came and that sort of thing. So
that's interesting.
I'm sure that has something to do with the Freemasonry type stuff in that regard too, why they consider it, you know, a special number. I don't know. I really don't look too much into the Freemasonic stuff, because
nor do I.
Yeah, you'll go crazy looking at the Kabbalah stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's mental.
I think my understanding, I mean, I don't really understand anything about the FMs other than the Freemasons other than what I decode. But I
Yeah.
think within the actual organisations themselves, I think the lower, like the first, second, third degree Freemasons, they don't really know what's going on way up the chain. So when you get to the
Yeah.
32, 33, that height,
A lot of these people, you know, they get into it and it's a drinking club, or, you know, it's a
Yeah.
you know, some place to go and meet up and do things with other people in the village or town or city where you
what
live.
will
and
what I will
and
observe
what it ends
is
up being.
what I have observed is that a lot of the Freemason, the Masonic lodges, should we say, always seem to be in old world buildings. Though you never see one in a modern building.
You
They're
got a
always
good
in,
point.
and I wonder if that
Well,
because there's
you're in
tunnels
England, and
underneath
that
they can
I
use?
think
Is it?
I think you in England have some of the oldest lodges in Europe, as far as I know. Maybe there are older ones elsewhere, like in Turkey and those kinds of places. But
I mean, the one in Stafford, for example, not far from in Staffordshire, is sat right opposite the prison, which is a
yeah,
bit of
well,
an odd place.
the
Now, it'd
biggest
be
one I know of in my area is in St. Paul, Minnesota, and it's you know, built like a temple type of. It definitely stands out as a structure, but it's kind of hidden away
and are
from
they in
the
old world
city.
buildings in America as well?
They're kind of old worldish, you know. Some of them look like Gothic type architecture and that kind of thing. Others are just simple boxes, you know. That, like in my town, my village, there's one, which
It
is
does make you
the
wonder
only
if there's a
one for
reason
like
behind that.
miles around. What's that?
Strange.
Does it make you
What's
wonder
that?
what if there's a reason behind it? I wonder often with that one in Stafford, for example, if there's tunnels that go underneath these old world buildings
Well,
that
a lot
link,
of
for
them,
example, to the prison in
a lot
Stafford,
of them
because
are
it is
built.
literally alongside it.
From what I know, a lot of them are built based on the Solomon's Temple. That's why there's kind of a consistency of a checkerboard pattern on the floor and that kind of thing, and other types of elements that they use to look similar, so that wherever you go in the world where there's a Masonic lodge, you're welcomed as though you know the place, because they're all similar designed. And that's
But
kind of why they do it, I think.
Isn't
There's more to
America?
it. I don't know. I don't pretend to know
I don't
much
know, but
about it.
I mean, I could be. I don't know much about Freemason, but I think was it the Scottish Rite? I think that's more in America than it is over here in many ways.
Well, there's
I
the
think.
Yorkshire Rite and the
Is there?
Scottish Rite. The York Rite, I mean, York Rite.
I don't know.
Those are the two that I know of.
Mark Anthony said about your jury service. I'd done jury service about 10 years ago, and we had free food and drinks brought into us. So
Not anymore.
Not anymore. What about paying for your bleeding fare and things like that? Do they pay for that?
Well, I walk there, you see, so I couldn't really claim that. But apparently, I can still claim for food, £5 a day, which is really nice of them. Even though,
£5, is that all?
yeah,
Chickies.
I remember getting called up on jury duty, and I didn't get picked, but it was like, I know that year I definitely got a letter from the IRS about back taxes, which I think is coincided with the jury duty thing showing up. I think that has more to do. I think a lot of that stuff that they have people do is just to suss out information from people about what they're doing. Like, what's your occupation? What do you do? You know, it's a question and answer when you're on jury duty. It's like you answer them like, I do this. That's my occupation. And it's like they're trying to suss you out, I think, is what's going on for a lot of that.
You've got a good point. And I think most things with the establishment, I have the First World War attitude. Keep your head below the trench. Don't stick your head over the trench. Just keep quiet, keep down. And Exo says the Scottish and York. Didn't know that. Don't know anything about it, you know. Oh, was a York Rite in UK?
Well, no, they have it here.
Oh, do they?
It depends.
Now, hang on a minute. Nathan said Middlesbrough Lodge in Linthorpe is a modern build.
Interesting.
I think Exo says 2 main rights. I'm learning here. I don't know. I used to work down Covent Garden where the head office is. I used to work down there. And there was shops, Masonic shops. Yeah, sorry, carry on, mate.
I was going to say, that one for Nathan, that one in Linthorpe, has it been rebuilt over what was an old world building previously? Was it a completely brand new area altogether?
Don't know. But,
like I said, I'd imagine a lot of the English lodges that you have go back, hundreds of years. Some of them, a lot of them, in all likelihood, because you had that whole system of Masonic lodges. I was listening to a podcast today, in fact, about since the port of Hamburg, Germany, did a lot of business with the English, and so the first mainland, or at least in Germany, the first Masonic lodge in Germany was in Hamburg. And
was it?
Yeah, and what it is you see, what a Masonic lodge is basically, they're the early socialists, because in certain, like for instance in the Papal States in the Italian Peninsula where the Pope reigned as king, Jews couldn't be citizens. Say like in Spain, under the before the Spanish Inquisition, the law was they couldn't be citizens. They could dwell there if they had permission from the local prince or bishop, but they couldn't, and ultimately the Pope is the one that decided it, but they couldn't be citizens, and the Masonic lodges were a way for them to mix into society secretly. And that's why they would do what they did. It's under the Catholic Church. A Catholic who takes an oath to the Masonic Lodge and becomes a member of a Masonic Lodge, it's automatically excommunicated from the Catholic Church. So no Catholic can become a Freemason. That's a law to this day.
I suppose there has been a few, but naughty ones. But
no, there's still that's a big problem in the Catholic Church. Is you have even bishops that belong to these organizations secretly.
Oh, and
dear. if they let it be known publicly, it would be a scandal, obviously, and that's why they keep a lot of this stuff secret. Now, the main, most people at the lower level don't know much, jack of anything. They know what they're told. But what it is they're all paying dues to the lodge that they belong to, or where they live. And the moment, this is what I've heard from ex-Freemasons, like for instance, you've been on with Frederick Blackburn out of North Carolina, that's been on Paul's show.
Yeah.
He was a Freemason. He's, he got up to close to the higher degrees and quit, because he kind of got persecuted in a way for exposing 9/11 truth. And he said that what he's said publicly is that the moment you stop paying your dues, you become a nobody. You're dead to them.
Oh, that.
So
interesting.
And then I assume that the people involved in higher level government and politics, if they leave, it's probably a more serious type of thing because they have secrets that get divulged about, court cases and things, because you got Freemasonic judges and all that kind of stuff and it's been a problem for a long time in society. Cops, that's another thing. They all meet at the lodge, pay dues.
Same in this country. And also, if a fellow Freemason goes to court and they do a certain sign, and the judge sees that, they let them off or give them something lean sentence.
Yeah.
And of course, the police drive around in black and white. Sorry.
Well,
they wear a black and white checkered hat.
That's right.
In America, the cars are black and white, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. But they're coming at it from the Talmudic. You got these holy books. The Kabbalah is one. The Talmud is another. Where there's this principle of what's called Mashira law. It's a Hebrew word, and if you snitch on someone else, or not snitch, snitch, for instance, someone who commits a crime, and that person committed a crime, and you're part of the group, and you go to a court of law where it's not governed by a Freemason judge, let's say. The other Freemasons in the court will see these signs that they do to know that person is, one of them. And
oh dear,
you're not allowed to bring a court case against another fellow member in a non group controlled court. So they have these laws of retribution, and it's like bloodletting in order to kill. They'll kill you.
Oh, that's it. Slit your throat from ear to ear and all these sort of things, because that's part of the ritual.
They take some sort of oath where they say that.
Yeah, that's right.
If they ever leave the good graces of it,
it's vile.
They're open for that kind of thing.
That's right. Have you ever seen the film that was made in 1941? It shows you the initiation. That incidentally caused a lot of controversy at the time. It was made in France. 43. I think it was made. And it's on. If you go onto my YouTube channel, about 3 years ago, I put it on my YouTube channel. So I can't remember the bleeding name of it, but anyway, it's on there. Now, Nathan says 13 degrees in York Rite and 33 in Scottish Rite. So there you go. And Alex Gorgeous says, "Can Anorak please clarify what you said about working for the government, please?" Yeah, contract bloke like me. I work for the government as well. Used to, but very temporary though, because I worked alongside the civil service, and that's quite an eye opener. So when you're a freelance bloke, you work all over the place. Now, Exo said probably an IKEA designed lodge, and now we got here. Oh dear, got so many here. Both, hang on, Nathan. Oh, I've lost it now. Think there was a group of money lenders before then. Oh, yeah, there's always bleeding money. Now,
wasn't that how the banking system started? In that they'd take gold off people, and then in order for them to get it back, they'd then have to pay an interest on it to get it back. That's
usury.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah, and Jean-Marc Rivière, really. Hang on, is that who you want 2 fingers up for? Sorry.
Oh, it's about usury, and the Masonic Lodge system is kind of a way of a form of usury, in a sense that you pay this due membership, where you're expected to pay the lodge dues in order to maintain your membership, and the moment you stop paying them, you're a nobody. And the person, they give out all sorts of awards for people who bring in more than their share, and they have all these charitable organizations, hospitals, and that kind of thing that go along with it, the philanthropy type stuff. Well, that's what they say they're doing with it.
That's all the top gloss, isn't it? I mean, let's face it.
Right.
Al Capone started soup cushions, didn't he?
Yeah. So that's just it. It's a system of where it's almost like you hear of these religions where they pay tithes to it, like the Mormons in this country is a group of people where they all pay tithes, like 10% of their income to the bishop of their locality. And then he takes it and divides it or does whatever he does.
Now, Sam Guerreri says, "Nice brotherhood. Mozart was a Freemason. He died horribly. Not even a tomb. Thanks, brothers." Yes, he did, didn't he? And a lot of his... But if you go on to FockhamHallRadio.com and you go into the radio archive, you can hear an interview with me with a chappie who we did the Mozart myth together. Robert Newman. And it was the late Robert Newman, great Robert Newman. Poor man's died now. And it was a shock when he died. But he was a musical historian. I'm not sure. I think he could speak German. I think he could. And he went through all the records and discovered that Mozart was a complete myth. And what it was... excuse me, I'm just plugging in my iPod there. No, what it was is that the Austro-Hungarian Empire was losing battle after battle. So they had to show some greatness to bring sort of, shall we say, people to go, wow, what a fantastic place. A little bit like what I call the fake moon landings. America was losing the Vietnam War big time. There's body bags coming back. So what do? You have a misdirection. So Vietnam War, and it's very strange.
So you create a cultural revolution at the same time as some fake war type scenario.
You notice the last moon landings allegedly happened exactly the same year as the Vietnam War came to a close. Isn't that weird?
That's when they closed. Yeah.
Yeah.
When they stopped happening.
Admittedly, Kennedy said we're going to the moon before the Vietnam War, but American advisors were there already because in 1959 the French pulled out because it was French Indochina before it's called Vietnam, and they pulled out big time. They even dug up graves to take them back to France.
He was our first Catholic president.
That's right.
You know that, right?
Oh, yes.
Before that, it was all Protestant, and then he became the first Catholic. And also at the same time, the president of Vietnam was also Catholic, and he was assassinated, I think, the month before Kennedy was assassinated.
It's interesting that Kennedy was president number 35, and in the numerology world, Satan equals 35. And his granddaughter, or whoever she was killed back in the last year. She was 35 years old, which is an interesting link with it.
Do you know what the word Satan means? I think it's in Latin. I think it's Diablo something, Diablos in Greek, and then Satan in Latin means deceiver.
Really?
Interesting.
Because I want to get that chappie on who worked in psychiatry in prisons again, because he was very interesting, because he discovered that people that hear voices and things like that in their heads, they were actual entities these people were hearing, and they weren't going mad. And he got checked. I'm not sure, but he speaks his mind. It's very interesting. But no, I was going to say is the late great Robert Newman. He believed that, and he had the evidence for it, that Mozart was just average, and a lot of his music was written by other people, and he can prove it because you see it under, I think it's infrared. You see Mozart written over music, and underneath is somebody else's signature. And when you listen to Mozart, it's different. It's very, very different. I mean, you listen to Wagner, it's near enough the same all the way through. You know, it's the same sort of mindset. And it's the same with Bach and other people. But when you listen to Mozart, it's very, very different. And he said that he couldn't have possibly written a lot of these pieces. Other people wrote it. And he was just, and it was just hype. He was one of the first.
Is it kind of like Shakespeare?
Yeah. It's all hyped up.
Where it's maybe a school of people.
That's right.
Composing.
That's right. And apparently what happened, they call it Vienna, the city of culture and music. And of course, it gave the Austro-Hungarian Empire a great boost at that time when they needed it, because they was losing so many battles.
That's something to go into too, because you had the split of the Roman Empire at a certain point in time when the collapse and the fall happened. The eastern part continued on, and the western part kind of went into, the barbarians and that kind of invasions and that sort of thing. But what became of it was called the Holy Roman Empire. And the Holy Roman Empire goes back, I think, the 800s. They trace the lineage of the Holy Roman Emperor from there to Franz Ferdinand, who was assassinated, and even to our current day. There's the Habsburgs. You've heard of the Habsburg dynasty? Mm-hmm. They're the emperors, the Holy Roman emperors. And Edward Habsburg, actually, he's still around, and the family's still around, and he's over in Vienna. And I follow him on Twitter, and his son is a Formula One race car driver. So they're still around. Yeah, they're still around, these people. The king of France, the current who would be the reigning monarch if they still had the monarchy. They still have the family, and his name is Louis Bourbon. Really? Follow him on Twitter too. But yeah, there's actually a movement in France to restore the monarchy.
Good heavens, I didn't know that.
Serious about it.
Well, in the late 50s, there was a movement, a strong movement, so I was told, in this country, to make Great Britain another state of America. Because this country had poverty sort of in the early 50s and throughout the 50s, because after the war, people were finding it very tough going, because Britain had to feed, before the Marshall Plan, they had to feed Germany, because Germany was starving. and rationing was worse after World War II than during World War II. And there was a very strong, I think it was a party that was set up that was urging Britain to become another state of America. So that would have been an interesting turn. We'd have been in Vietnam, wouldn't we?
America was almost the part of Britain before the Revolution.
That's right.
There were terms of peace, and the King George, put out even to the Catholics that lived here that we're not going to force you to take the oath against transubstantiation, which up until that point, anyone who wanted to be a citizen or in government in Britain had to take an oath saying they didn't believe that the Eucharist, the body and blood of Christ, they had to denounce it and say it was just bread and wine. And they were willing to get rid of that for Catholics, and I think they should have taken it. And I'm not one that says that thinks that the Boston Tea Party and the Revolution, the Second Continental Congress were good for our country. I think we would have been better off in alliance at that time, but it didn't turn out that way. So you can only say what you think.
Well, I think was it one
good terms.
One vote was whether America would speak German or English, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's another thing too.
Well, my understanding is that America's owned by the UK.
It's a city of London. It's actually owned by the city of London.
Because if you ever watch any movies where you've got, or if you have a look at the US military uniform, the flag's got a gold border to it, which means it's a corporation. And what I was watching a few weeks ago was that if a country's got a president, it's a corporation, but if it's got a monarchy, it's not. It's a country.
I didn't know that.
Say
that
again.
Say again.
Say that again. Yeah, please.
So if a country's got a president, it's a corporation, a bit like a business has a president.
Sure, like the United States of America Incorporated.
Yeah, if you have a look at the courtrooms in America, the flag has got a gold border to it, which means it's a corporation.
Well, the Admiralty thing, yeah, I've looked into that a little bit long ago.
And apparently Mark Mantis says Mozart was Japanese, according to the new Sky TV series. Oh, really? Really? Was he really? He's Japanese. And apparently Nixon was a Quaker, that's quite correct, and Quakers are pacifists.
Yeah, they're kind of the opposite of the Puritans here.
And he brought the Vietnam War to an end, they didn't want ending because it was a sustainable war, which is for the industrial and military machine, and they didn't want it to come to an end, and he ended it. And that's why they had the Watergate problem. Yeah, sorry.
Have you heard of the Bristol Merchant Venturers?
No, never heard of them.
Okay, because they're an organization. I think they're aligned with Freemasonry and that sort of thing. But
really,
they're based out of Bristol, and they were some of the first explorers into Canada through the St. Lawrence Strait and even America, for that matter. John Cabot was somebody who was involved with them. He was an he's Viennese. He was from Venice originally. But they created this thing, the Calvinists, who later became the Puritans, the Pilgrims that came over here were Calvinists, Protestants. And he was involved with this group called the Society of Merchants. And it existed in England, and also they had a Calvinist group of merchant society in France at the time. And I found out about this reading about the early Jesuits, the Jesuit missionaries, the black robes that came here from France to Quebec, to Montreal, and set up and learn the Indian languages, the different tribes like the Huron and the Iroquois, Algonquin, these different tribes along the Great Lakes.
What were the tribes near you? Was it
Ojibwa?
The Ojibwa.
The Ojibwa, they're the biggest ones near us. Yeah, I have an aunt who's half Ojibwa, and she's up in Grand Portage in Minnesota by the Canadian border, and they've got a reservation up there.
Well, all their teepees and all that. All their
Yeah, no,
and...
the casino is more like it, but yeah.
That's what I've never met a genuine Red Indian ever.
No?
American Red Indian. No, we wouldn't over here. I mean, you don't really find them. No, I have met a South American Indian. They used to come round busking. They used to have the pipes. They're all done. Was it Andes?
Okay, yeah. From like Uruguay and Paraguay.
Yeah. I think I'm from Paraguay, and they're really dark-skinned, and but they're quite friendly, and they spoke very good English.
There was a lot of Freemasonry in that area too.
Really?
The Jesuits came in, and then they set up a lot of missions, and then the Freemasons would come in and just kind of destroy it after that. Same thing with here. It ended up happening like in Michigan. The first lodge that we had in our country, between Canada and the North America, pretty much North America, was in Detroit, Michigan. Was the first lodge set up anywhere here.
Something very strange has just happened. Seriously. Now, the Johnnyman said Shakespeare is another historical fictional character who wrote 6 books, a literary hero story. Look at the hero story, get a student loan to loan more. And I've accidentally gone down to the bottom of the screen and the crap news came up. And whose picture is at the top of the crap news? I didn't even read it. Shakespeare. Isn't that weird? That is bloody strange, that is.
That kind of stuff is why I quit Facebook back in the day. Because what they would do is you would be typing an email, one of these direct messages to somebody else in Facebook, and you'd mention some proper name of somebody, and then you'd get these advertisements that, within hours or the next day of that. And
that is weird. That was really creepy. Yeah. And I hadn't even read it out yet. And says, what's this? Nandazorfisham. Anybody know what that is? Have I pronounced it wrong? No. Nondafoshism was the Restoration movement in France around 1900s. I pronounced it completely wrong, and I'm sorry for my ignorance. But
you got your Cockney French accent. You got all right.
Oh yes, I don't Cockney French. Bonjour, monsieur, like mate. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, French. What the bloody hell are you talking about? Jesuit
that was quite accurate. Yes. That was pretty good. That.
Do you remember hello?
Could you do a good mooning?
Good mooning. Patrick, you've got to see hello. I saw parts of it on YouTube. You probably didn't get it in America. It's hysterical. And it was taking the piss. They used to have this program, all very serious, about I think it was the Belgian resistance during World War II. Was it now? Enemy at the door, and people used to call it enema at the door and things like that. And all very badly, very BBC, and and the Germans all speak like this, and they're all very nasty Germans. Hello, I'm a nasty German. I'm going to slap you around the face, all that sort of crap. And hello was the piss take of it, and it was classic. It really, and that was on at the time I worked with a German who loved it, that program. And there was a Jewish bloke in the office as well, and we were killing ourselves laughing. We used to goose step around to it the lot. It's all funny. Nobody was hurt, nobody was upset. We were just peeing ourselves laughing, because when you're working on a stressful project, you need an outlet. And we used to go to the German bloke saying, "Listen very carefully. I say this only once. I've got these plans for the heating and ventilating engineer," and all that sort of stuff. Well, one weekend, German bloke went back home. He came back Monday. I think he had a backache or something, or a leg ache, and I can't remember. One of the blokes said, "Oh, it's all that bleeding goose stepping you're doing over the weekend, wasn't it?" And he rolled up. I mean, people were going, but no, we didn't give a shit. We just, and nobody was hurt. Till a Canadian came in who was politically correct, and all that stopped. "You're racist, you're this, you're that." And he looks at us and going, "Hello, good morning, how are you this morning?"
Yeah, no offense to Canadians, but Canadians are known for that. At least,
Yeah, miserable bastard.
They hole up for the winter, and they've got nothing to do but watch television, so they just believe whatever the CBC feeds them.
Right.
I guess is why.
Yeah, well, an Israeli bloke ate bacon sandwiches. Seriously, he liked bacon sandwiches. And, when he came into the morning, he said, "Good morning." Oh, dear.
I was pissing outside your cafe.
That's right. I was just pissing by your door. Because what it was, you probably don't understand what it was.
I've seen that. I've seen that.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a classic. And the bloke who can't speak French properly was pissing by your door.
The English bummers are on their way over to
the bummers. The English bummers flag is on the way. What was the other one now? Oh, yes. There was I've seen the funeral and there's a Catholic farter over the grave. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's Rennie as well. Oh, it's classic.
What are you doing with that woman? You stupid woman. Can you not see that she is...
And she's to
breathe?
She generally was tone deaf when it came to singing. She generally couldn't sing, which made it even better because the singing was so bad. They used to put cheese in their ears because it's so awful. I used to roll up with that. That was the last of the comedies on BBC. I don't think there's any good comedies after Lower, Lower, Lower. But
that was BBC.
They don't make them like that now. They probably can't because of all the snowflakes and stuff like that out there.
Well, that's why over here we got Monty Python reruns from the 70s, and they just play it over and over and over and over again because that's all the probably most of the stuff coming out of the BBC now is all, like you said, politically correct. Yeah, that's probably the soft way of putting it.
I saw the other day, was it Spike Milligan said, chopsticks are the reason that the Chinese never discovered custard.
Never invented custard.
Never invented custard. I thought that's a brilliant one. I mean, it's not Chinese people would roll up at that. It's just good, isn't it?
My grandpa used to say, well, fingers were invented before forks.
That's what my granddad used to say. Yeah. And that's funny. And Warhead Rex said, Jesuit missionaries allegedly spread disease throughout the North Americas.
Allegedly. Yep. That was
anyhow.
The Indians believed that. They had the witch doctors that would say, well, the pale faces, these black robes brought it in. That's why we're suffering this. But it's like there's no clue preceding that if they had similar pandemics, prior to that.
They were dead by 1623, and that's why they said, white man speak with forked tongue. That's why he eat fish and chips. Things like that.
Well, part of the problem with it is they didn't have any sort of written words for their languages. That's the Jesuits came in, and the reason we have their languages to begin, to this day is because people like the Jesuits came in and learned the language because they wanted to spread the gospel. And so they'd learn it and write their histories, the different stories.
Oh, yeah.
They learn things. For instance, the saying "turtles all the way down" regarding the foundation of the earth.
Yes.
What are we? The Hindus believe that the foundation of the earth is held up by elephants who are standing on the back of a turtle. Well, certain Algonquin tribes, I think it was the Huron tribe, had a similar type of mythology. So there were things in Indian mythology that coincided with actual Indians in India that were similar type of mythology, and they learned it by the writing it down and having a history. They didn't have quill pens and ink and all that kind of stuff writing the stuff. They they likely had ways of transmitting that, but to this day I don't think any of the documents of the history of a lot of these Indian tribes have anything going back before that time of any sort of significance, especially in the north part. As far as I know, I shouldn't say. You go down to South America, there's plenty of evidence of pyramids and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
So, and even here we have monuments and that and that even a pyramid near Illinois, near Chicago.
Really, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, we have, and then where I'm at in River Falls, Wisconsin, there's a monument that looks like it's centuries years old before
Really?
before the French came.
What's that, mate? Sorry.
Don't they reckon the pyramids around across the world sit on specific ley lines as well? They're important.
Well, I think it's energy lines, because there's a difference between ley lines and energy lines. That's what I just recently discovered.
A lot of these areas are easily navigable through rivers and that kind of thing. Like where it is in, I think in Illinois too, it's near a river, because we've got the Mississippi and different.
Yes.
Same within the River Falls. It's right near the Mississippi. And so I think a lot of it had to do with the travel of just the natural rivers and easy waterways to get from point A to point B quickly.
Well, you know this, Patrick. Says Exo says Wisconsin was named after Indian speak.
Yeah, a lot of these places, Minnesota, Michigan, Quebec.
What about Scunthorpe in England? That's named after.
You don't drop the S off that though, do you? Because you know what that says.
Well, there was an advert. Was it for Thai food tea? And it says Thai food tea put the tea in Britain. Okay, that was the advert. And the joke was one of my uncle's jokes. If Thai food put the tea in Britain, who put the CUNT in Scunthorpe? Just think about it. That was an old joke, that was. Now, a barefoot foreigner has said, I grew up in Bristol. Oh, you poor sod. They still have a lot of I think we're talking about
the merchant venturers.
Yes, merchant venturers still have a lot of influence over planning and politics. Yeah, they do around my way as well.
Yeah.
Exo said...
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Well, I was very, very briefly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, very quickly, Exo said, Red Indian is an illegal term these days. Oh, bloody hell. Thought police about me now.
It's like saying white man, black man, red man, yellow man. Yeah, of course. It's, you're not judged by your color, the color of your skin, obviously. But
I mean, I've got respect for everybody, so I couldn't give a shit, really, what the people say. But
I think it's funny, really. I mean,
it is.
Plenty of jokes can be had by identifying people that way, but it doesn't. It's at the end of it's not something you should just take too much to heart, because that was part of the deal when the French came here. There was a lot of intermarriage between the French and Indian. To this day, they call it French Indian, for the type of people in our area. So it's an actual identity. But red man. Okay, great. There were plenty in the northeast of near Quebec and New England of these Indian tribes that actually had pale skin, and so it's like that was part of the culture.
Same with the Aborigines, because I reckon a lot of the prisoners who escaped actually joined the Aborigines and married into them, and there's lots of sort of very light-skinned Aborigines in Australia.
Yeah, well, it's like in Quebec, where I'm at used to be Quebec at a certain point before the Revolution, and anywhere in the Great Lakes, in fact, it was Quebec that bordered it, and the Catholics, they intermarry. There wasn't this taboo that you can't get married to an Indian because they're an Indian. It's like, well, no, they converted to Catholicism and became Catholics, and then they married Frenchmen.
Let's put it this way:
it's a matter of course.
In every race, in every religion, there are extremely nice people and there's assholes.
Right.
Well, that's it. I mean, it doesn't matter what race or religion. There's always the small percentage of nasties. And that's it.
Catholic means universal. So Catholics are in no way like that, where it's like you're a white man and a black man, you can't get married. It's like, no, it doesn't matter that. What matters is your belief and your morality and what you do to other people, how you treat other people.
I was actually talking to my neighbour the other day, who he's got a funny finger as well. I mean, look at a funny finger. Look, it's a trigger finger sort of thing. And I'm sort of seeing to it. I've got this splint thing that I put on it and things like that. It's getting there. It's coming back. It's okay, but that is a sign of Viking ancestry. And my what is it now? What's it now? Corneas, I think, on my eyes are thicker than normal. Again, that is Viking. So somewhere along the line, I got a bit of Nordic. So when the Vikings were coming over, raping and pillaging, half of my lot are probably Vikings. So there we are. I'm a bit Viking.
Well, we were talking earlier about the demonic and that kind of thing, and I'm reading right now The City of God Against the Pagans by St. Augustine from like the 300s. And he's talking about the Roman gods and the Greek gods and how they were not really God Almighty, the creator of heaven and earth. These were actually demons. And you look in the way when the French got here, especially the missionaries they came to convert them, and they learned about their religions, and a lot of that stuff was kind of like demon worship. And it was. They had different demons that they would pray to for a successful hunt, let's say. They go on a moose hunt because they needed meat. They'd pray to a demon. They'd have these shaman-type witch doctors that would do dances and, and healing ceremonies and this kind of stuff. And they'd arrange games even and that kind of thing. Same in the Roman days. They'd arrange games in honor of some god, that sort of thing occurs everywhere. I think that, and that doesn't negate the fact that there was intelligence there. Like the Greek philosophers, like Aristotle and even the pre-Socratic philosophers, are highly regarded in Christianity because of the logic that they pursued. They pursued truth, and anybody pursuing the truth that's honorable.
You're spot on. I mean, nowadays what we have two types of science: checkbook science and real science. And unfortunately, checkbook science seems to win out. But I was going to say, what I'm hoping to get on the show again is Jerry Melwinski. Now, he came on the show a couple of years back, and the YouTube took it down because he was going on about big farmy people and how they drug people and that. And he's researched into demonic things that's taken over people. And he said when people hear voices, they generally are hearing voices. So there are...
They generally are?
Yes.
Hearing voices?
Yes, they genuinely are. And they're not sick or anything like that. These people are they're picking in, and schizophrenics. And he was in the prison service, and he treated these schizophrenics without any drugs or anything like that. And he said they would generally they'd try to take over people's bodies and things like that. And I did hear on Mark Window's show about a chap who died on an operating theatre, and as he drifted up above his body, he passed over a pub, and there was loads and loads of demons queuing up, waiting for people to get drunk. And then suddenly, they started his heart again. The chap was whisked straight back into his body, but he had his near-death experience, or he was actually, I think he was dead for a minute or something, and that's when he saw all this. So it's very, very, I do believe in demons because I've experienced it in my family. And I wrote, as I say, I wrote a book about it, never published it, but I'm rewriting it now. And
well, we hear about it all the time in the gospel about Jesus casting out demons and the apostles casting out demons from people who are possessed, demoniacs and that sort of thing. And people discount it. We got our modern materialism that says, "Oh no, it's just that's just people's psychosis." And this kind
of. But then don't they also reckon that things like in your house you should never have two mirrors opposite each other because apparently those can bring in demons.
Well,
and all these black, so like your phone and the monitors and stuff like that, they're black boxes, which are deemed as entities, as ways in, portals.
Bloody hell. I didn't know that because I got that in my bathroom. I got one mirror facing the other one. I've had that for years.
Apparently so, yeah. Apparently you shouldn't have mirrors opposite each other. Apparently mirrors are a way of bringing demons in.
I really didn't know that. But what happened was a demon came into someone that's possessed, I believe, came into my family, and they're like they spread like a disease that they spread of evil. They just spread it. And this particular character, their father was a Freemason. It's interesting. It's
It's interesting because that's what the when we were talking about tarot cards a while back. So apparently the Freemasons use those as well to bring in demons.
Do they? I didn't know that.
That's the sort of thing too. The playing cards and the tarot card history, they're pretty much one and the same. Their history of the tarot cards, and certain merchants that came into America even would use playing cards as a currency. So it'd be like tarot cards as a currency. A lot of this stuff is fortune telling, spiritualism, and trying to communicate with angels and that sort of thing. But the problem with it is you're communicating with demons. You think you have control over who you're communicating with. You don't, and it's not something to toy around with. It's very serious.
That's interesting. What is the Catholic Church's view on playing cards and tarot cards, especially?
Totally against it.
Well, even playing cards.
Yeah. Well, playing cards. Okay, obviously there's an innocence to it that if you're doing it and you're having seances with playing cards, that's a different story than
the ordinary,
playing blackjack is probably one of the least type of things. But if gambling and that sort of stuff, I think came from fortune telling. These casinos and that kind of thing are based on the fortune telling type thing that would go on, and merchants were particularly prone to that.
That's interesting.
The gambling industry, the casinos, the money. It's all about money and good fortune.
That's right. The Chinese are into that.
Well, it's like these Indian casinos here have, it's all casino games.
And what gets me is where they depict the Indians as these beautiful, we have all this lovely sort of lovey-dovey, they live with the earth. And we've got these dream catchers. I mean, Glastonbury is full of all this crap.
Well, the New Age type stuff.
New Age crap. About. And if you see, was it Dancing with Wolves and what was it, Man Called Horse? What a load of undiluted. I mean, it really is undiluted. As my father used to call it, sewage from China, far-fetched. Because I haven't read the book, but what's that book now that was written? Scalp
Dance.
Scalp Dance.
Tom Goodrich.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, I'm going to read it. But apparently, they were bloody savages. They
were. Well, like I said, I was reading this book about one of the first martyrs, priest to be martyred in North America anyway, was Isaac Jacques, and Saint Isaac Jacques now. And I was reading his story, and that's where I learned a lot about the Jesuits and the merchant, the Society of Merchants, Cabot and those people that came here early on, Champlain, and the people that explored here. There was a lot of French. I think it was like first Brits, and then French took over, and then the Brits took over again. There's a lot of cooperation and trading that went on. But it's a lot to learn about.
It is history, but now the Johnnyman's come up with an interesting fact. Well, no, it's a fact. I don't know. Now, magnetic compasses don't work in the deep southern regions. Even in Australia, the compasses have additional magnet on the needle to compensate. Never heard of it. Have you ever heard of that? I've never heard of that.
No.
Although the understanding
water
is
drains counterclockwise or something like that in the southern hemisphere. I've heard that. I don't know if that's true. Go ahead.
That's interesting.
Sorry,
yes.
Didn't mean to interrupt.
No. Please carry on. That's okay. And now it's true what Exo said. We manifest. Well, I don't know. Not so true. We manifest our own demons. We can manifest them. Yes.
You can through words. I think if
I think you can. Yeah.
I don't think they're ours. I wouldn't call them ours. I think they're separate from men. I think they're jealous. What it is they're jealous of men, and that's why they torment them so much, because they know they're damned for eternity. So well, I havoc to try to get us to, because we have free will, we have a choice. We're not, we're not automaton slaves that God created to just do His will. He gave us a choice.
Yeah.
And they don't have that choice because they're pure spirit. They don't have bodies that they can make choices with. They're in the spirit world. The moment they were created, they were given a choice, and the moment that they were created, they chose what they chose for their fate.
Well, I've got a letter
to disobey.
I mean, I haven't seen these members of my family for 16 years now, and I got a letter a tormenting letter from this nasty piece of work that entered into my family, and I wrote a letter. I got an email back, and I just said that I knew about demonic possession, and please go away. And I haven't heard anything since, because you there is a way of getting rid of them, and that they'll clear off pretty quick, And
I think using like positive affirmations and things like that are a way of keeping demons at bay and being positive and doing acts of kindness and things like that.
I agree with you. 100% agree.
To be honest, the world is all about trying to make us all negative, or their world is to try and make us all feel negative and fear and all this sort of stuff. But if you go against it, then the demons can't get in, can they?
That's the way Jesus came, and he told us, what to do to avoid that sort of confrontation. You do good. You're a moral person. You follow the commandments, the 10 Commandments.
That's right. And there are, as I say,
the Beatitudes.
You can command them out of the way. You can get them.
Well, it's like at the reading in church today. They're talking about the Beatitudes. One of them is, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they are the children of God." Now, how many politicians sit and dwell on that kind of talk? Like being a peacemaker, that's what qualifies you as a child of God. Is you're seeking peace. You're not trying to create a new war and get people killed because of your jealousy or your greed.
I agree with you. And I mean, when you think of Nixon, I mean, I heard sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you, Paul. Just finish this bit. But I heard somebody talking about Nixon who reckons he was probably one of the best, even though everybody disliked him, one of the best
that's why they got rid
America
of him.
had, because let's face it, he didn't believe that his religion was that they don't believe in killing.
Right, he got rid of the draft too.
Yes.
So yeah, he's a Quaker.
Quakers don't believe in killing, and I'm changing my views about Nixon now. They called him Tricky Dicky.
Well, the Jesuits were pacifists. They are pacifist. The modern Jesuits are a different ball of string than the old Jesuits, but they were pacifists. They didn't carry arms. They didn't try to provoke wars. In fact, they tried to prevent wars by talking with the chiefs on both sides of, say like Indian tribes, get them to come to terms.
Was that before they got scalped? But
yeah, well, they did get scalped. Like I was reading about Isaac Jacques. He was beheaded, decapitated.
Oh,
so and his head put on a spike. Yeah, well,
that's good of them.
The savage Indian.
That was their welcoming committee.
But the thing of it is, the same tribe that he went to, that same tribe has a saint of their own. One of the first Native American saints who turned.
Was there any tribes of love and peace and Glastonbury New Age? They reckon the Beaker people might have been a bit sort of New Agey because they can't find any sign of war with them. They made beakers. Boring farts, but apart from that. But talking about that, we had Dancing with Wolves, and DJ B2 said, "What about the sequel, Farting with Buffaloes?" Yeah, could have, couldn't
boy.
Well, we was talking about earlier before we came on air about the keto diet where you eat meat and that, and I used to be a vegetarian, same as yourself, Paul. I don't know if you wanted me to mention that. I was a vegan at one time.
Fine,
I was actually a vegan at one time, but the trouble is the side issue of veganism is chronic flatulence, and and I mentioned this before we came on. I don't know if you heard it, Patrick, but my sister used to have one of these, those settees in the 70s that were like a metal frame.
I heard this story before.
That's right. And the brown cushions. See, I used to, when I sat down, because I used to used to trump a hell of a lot, especially because I like Brussels sprouts. And I actually stunk the cushion out. My sister was ill one day. She laid down on the settee and her head went, and she almost threw up because all she could smell was farts.
I just find it. I don't know what to think about that kind of boasting from you there.
That's a sort of yes. I am boasting. Yes. Now, Nathan Lucius said, "Gentlemen, the Greeks, Egyptians, Romans, Phoenicians all knew it was a planet way before Jesuit order exists." Oh, well, we're going into flat Earth and round Earth now. So,
what's the point? It's flat.
I think it's maybe it's square because Michael Benting said it's square. But I rang the DW.
I believe that it's geocentric, and we don't rotate around the sun. The universe
no, I think it's stationary.
Surrounds us.
Yeah,
I'd believe that. Yeah, I believe the Earth is probably. I'm sorry, Paul, but I think the Earth is probably round. Although I try to be neutral until I've heard it, and it's stationary. I really do believe.
Yeah, that's what I think. I'm not saying it's flat as a pancake. But I don't think we're rolling around in space. Is my.
Oh, we're not rolling around in space. No.
There's no. You don't ever feel any movement. There's never any evidence of any movement.
No, but you know that you go back in chronology. You go back in time. And there's a timeline when nobody discussed flat Earth. That's kind of a relatively new thing, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
As far as the popularity of it. Because I didn't start hearing about this until maybe like, I don't know, even 10 years ago.
I agree with you. Because
you didn't hear
it's a relatively new thing, yes.
Yeah. And I think that's worth noting. There's something to that. Because I know that there's this... he's a PhD professor, I think. Robert Sungenis out of California, I think. He proposed that our notion of Galileo proposing heliocentrism, where we rotate around the sun, as being not scientifically provable, and that geocentrism was more plausible, or it could be proven. And shortly after that is when we started getting people, in the media, or he thinks it's a psyop of the flat Earth to divert the discussion from scientific evidence for geocentrism versus heliocentrism, and it kind of obfuscates that because then you're continually arguing, are we on a flat plane or is it a sphere? And it's like perspective.
I think they certainly hide some of the truth from us in the respect that.
No doubt.
The World Economic Forum logo, for example, is effectively a flat Earth map. If you look at that,
I think they get us to believe.
Reef, you've got the laurels either side of it, which represent the ice wall, as it were, and then you've got all the continents around. Whatever it is, we ain't running around in space. Let's put it that way. And no one's been to the moon. And the moon and the sun are about the same sort of size, and you can. And even one of my friends, we were in Leicester a few weeks ago, and when we got off the train, the moon was literally in. The moon and the sun were literally in the same bit of sky, and my mate said to me, he said, "You're right." He said, "How could the shadow on the moon ever be the Earth? It's impossible. The moon and the sun are self-illumination. You get cold air off the moon. You get hot air off the.
Oh, I think you're right there with the cold air off the moon. I'm positive there because when you get frost, it's a full moon, and anything that's shaded from the moon doesn't get the frost. But
exactly.
And I think that Nathan Lucius says happy to do another debate, not via text, obviously. It's infuriating trying to text on here. Well, there is something being set up as we speak. I had a word with Survival Steve about this because I want to bring back the Victorian and Edwardian way of discussion, which was very different to today's way of discussion. That is where gentlemen would say their piece and very politely and respect each other's point of view, even though they probably disagree totally with each other.
Yeah, we called that the fairness doctrine.
The fact that's what I want to bring back. That's a policy, and I think that Nathan Newport did a fantastic job of that round and flat Earth debate. And I hope it's up for other people to judge. I try and be as neutral as I possibly can, and back the person who's on first, because they are always at a disadvantage. Now, there's another debate being arranged, if it can bring it about, and that is people that believe we should have government and people that disbelieve we should have government. I disbelieve we should have government, but I will be neutral on that occasion, and I'm hoping to get two people on.
I believe we have government whether we like it or not.
That's an interesting point of view.
That's my point of view, and I think that there's a case to be made for government.
That's
Good
interesting.
government.
Now, we could twist it a little bit so we could have it, but what I'm trying to do is get two people I can't mention at the moment because obviously they haven't agreed or disagreed or anything like that. And there's Survival Steve. I haven't asked Nathan yet, but I was thinking of two anti-governments and two pro-governments, and that would be interesting. I'll be in the middle. Now, as for religion, I was hoping to do get an atheist along to debate religion, an atheist with maybe yourself, Paul. But I don't know enough about religion to be neutral because I'm very.
Are there any real atheists though? That's
I don't know.
There's a lot of agnostics.
I'm not sure I could actually do much of a debate on that. I believe there's a creator.
I do.
And obviously going back to what we were saying about the sun and the moon, I
think it's an energy.
As a realm that we are on, the creator would always produce the most perfect realm. So like again, your heat, your warmth,
it's just
it's
a matter of it's not even a matter of religion. It's just a matter of logic, because you look at creation. All right, was there ever a time there was nothing? Well, that's the question you ask. Was there ever a time there was nothing? Right. And if there was nothing, then there's never something. So how did existence come into being?
And the other thing is evolution. Does that mean that, for example, I don't know, look at Jeremy at the back. Does that mean that in evolution, if there's need for an ironing table in millions and billions of
times, can a fish turn into a bird? That's the question.
That's right.
So depends. Were they born with wings?
Well, it's like Dave Allen. He was a comedian. And he always said, "May your God be with you" at the end of every show. And he said he was an atheist, and his wife said, "No, he wasn't. He's an extremely spiritual person." He said, and that was just part of his act.
He said he's probably a pagan. He wasn't. Well, we Christians would call a pagan would be someone who believes in God's, multiplicity, which is absurd, but it's at the same time people believe in that sort of thing. But, like in the olden days.
That's right. I don't think we can have a debate about religion. I think it would just have to be I don't know. You're right about that.
Of everybody's beliefs.
Yeah, I don't know. But I want to bring this.
You could debate issues.
That's right. But a gentlemanly thing. I mean, what I liked about both yourself, Paul, and Nathan, didn't talk over each other. You didn't get personal. You did it perfectly how the Victorians and Edwardians would do it. And this is what I want. At the end of the debate, people...
You didn't have money on the line, that's why.
You're spot on. You're spot on.
If you start gambling over who's going to win, it's a different story.
Well, that's it.
If you do one on the government versus non-government, maybe you can be Eric von Fiona Bruce or something for the day.
Something like that. But
here's one about that. Should we have a standing army or not? That's an
interesting one. Now, I'm a pacifist, very much a pacifist, so that would... But I'd have to be neutral. And I think
the people who are against the government would say, no, we can't have a standing army. But then the question is, what is it going to be?
I think,
what do you do with criminals?
Six Blade, who's Survival Steve. Sorry, Matt, giving the game away there. But Survival Steve would be the man for that. That would be an interesting debate. So anybody got any ideas where we have two opposing sides and people want to learn? My attitude is at the end of the debate, when both Paul and Nathan finished, people sat back and thought, well, Paul had some pretty good views
Points,
there. And
yeah.
so did Nathan, had some good points and worked it out for themselves. You know, they had very good points, and that's it. I mean,
well, you're never going to change anybody's mind. They're going to change their own mind. You can
Yeah.
only give them what you know, and they might
I mean, the
come
thing
to some
that I've
sort
been
of
saying, like,
epiphany.
with the moon and the sun
Mm.
is based on what I've experienced. So, for example, before Christmas, we had all that. Also, between Christmas and New Year, we had all that heavy snow, which
Well, you
combined
did. We
with
didn't.
which
We
which
didn't.
combined with the full moon. Because I reckon if it hadn't been a full moon, or if it had been at the time when you get the new moon, where there's no moon at all, it'd have fallen as rain, not as snow.
Precisely. It's an interesting one. But I think that, I mean, I've given up with did we go to the moon or not, because everybody else said no, we didn't go to the moon. So that's it. Patrick, I haven't asked you, did we go to the moon?
Did we? I can say we probably didn't.
Oh, well, it's another one. So right, that's out of it. That's out of it.
I can see the motivation for saying that we did, because then it's like we're boasting about our technology. It's like nuclear weapons. That's another one. Nuclear power. Is it dangerous? Is it safe? That's another debate that you could have, because there are people like Galen Windsor.
That's an interesting one.
He said that it's completely innocuous unless it's used like anything. You can use TNT in an unsafe way, or you can use it in a safe way, and for constructive purposes or deconstructive purposes.
You're spot on. I don't believe there's nuclear weapons. I think they get radioactive material and put it.
I think there's a way of triggering bombs with nuclear materials, but it's trigger. You know, it probably creates a different reaction than if you used a different type of trigger, like a fuse.
Well, it's been proven without a shadow of doubt that no nuclear bombs were dropped on Nagasaki or Hiroshima. They were conventional, huge amounts of TNT, or whatever, and they had mustard gas in it, and that's how people got what they said was radiation sickness, but it wasn't.
Well, then you go to the history of the your NHS, and the mustard gas thing that they used to use for therapy, for chemotherapy.
Yes. And they use a spin-off from the nuclear industry they put into medicine. But it's funny you should say that, because I got some neighbours that are interested in my sort of natural cures and that, and they said, could you write it down, please? So I said, yeah, okay. And as I'm writing it down, I thought I might add a couple of paragraphs about John D. Rockefeller, how he got into medicine using oil, and how he destroyed natural medicine. Yeah. And how he destroyed natural medicine.
The Rockefellers started out selling snake oil.
Did that? I didn't know that.
And how much of that is witchcraft and sorcery?
Good point.
And that kind of thing. You were talking about, there we go, back to the demonic. Yeah. How much of that comes from the demonic type thing? What's that?
The serpent, which links back to the devil, Satan.
Yeah. In the Garden of Eden, serpent tempting Eve.
Now, Von Braun, make very good shavers, Von Braun, team considered the moon was a waste of time, build space stations to go for Mars. Well, I don't think we've ever got through the Van Allen belt, my personal view. I don't think you can get through it. I think we're trapped on Earth.
Didn't they have one of the astronauts say that we flew through the Van Allen belt because we didn't know it was there, but now we know it's there, we can't go through it? Oh, right. So because you didn't know it was what it was, you go, oh, that's fine then.
Right, it's like going through life blindfolded.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a wall here. Oh, yeah. But I was blindfolded, so I could go through the wall before. I took the blindfold off. There's a wall.
Well, I've actually been up to the command module that was on display in London's Science Museum, and a group of us fellas walked in. This is when I was at college, convinced they landed on the moon. A lot of us walked out, convinced they didn't land on the moon, because we looked in and we said, "This is bleeding laugh. This is a joke. This is."
That's like the Bezos thing recently, where Katy Perry and his wife and all that went up in the outer space and then came back, and it's all this goofy talk, girl talk after it happened. Like, oh, we're out in outer space. Oh. And it's like, do you believe it? Is it is it believable? Things like Elon Musk too, right? The world's richest
Oh,
man.
bullshit.
They're sending rockets up into outer space, and pretty soon it'll be a tourist attraction. You'll be able to go up for a couple $100,000, and it's the same thing with the Titanic. Remember the guy that designed that stupid design to go down and a sub to go down to visit the Titanic,
Yes.
and they all imploded.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that boastful notion that you can conquer nature, because our science has become so, perfected to the point where we know everything, or we know enough. And I think a lot of times people, rather than being called a fool, would rather bolster their ego and puff themselves up to be something they aren't.
Oh, you've got a good point there. It's all bullshit, isn't it? Oh, we can do this. Well, yes. And also, you listen to these old films. Oh, our fellows are going in. Look at marvellous job here. Excellent. Bullshit.
But then there's also the thing as well that, like going back to the 9/11 thing, that back in 2001, mobile phones were shit, basically, when the signal was crap.
Yeah, it was crap.
But even today, if you go on an aeroplane, even now, you can't get a signal on your phone up there. And yet, because
it's an FM type signal.
Would the signal not be better there because you're closer to the inverted bracket in inverted speech marks, closer to the satellites? So how did they manage to get a signal on board a plane in 2001 so that people on board could phone their loved ones to say we're about to crash into a building? Because you can't get a signal up there.
That's a good question. And it's just as believable as them finding the passports of the terrorists who hijacked the planes amidst the rubble of the World Trade Center. Oh, Abdul's
and aluminum
passport's right here.
And aluminum, or if you're English, aluminium, slicing through steel. Oh, you got it there. You got it. By Jove, he's got it.
They also said that about the. They said that with the. They had a couple of well-renowned expert pilots come and say about the 767 that apparently hit the Pentagon on the one side that there was nobody in.
Right, they had to fly so low to the ground that it was impossible.
He said that type of aircraft would have stalled. It would never have been able to do that maneuver. It would have stalled before it got anywhere near it.
Yeah.
It's all farce. It's all bullshit, isn't it?
It's a big bullshit. About Hachi says the Red Indians had a council of men. Yeah, didn't they smoke peace pipes? And one moment it's peace on, the next minute it's peace off, wasn't it? Unfortunately, the white man got paid for scalping them spiritually. You couldn't make it up.
Yeah, there's some truth to that.
That's right.
It depends on the white man and his beliefs, because there were definitely white men that had beliefs that they could conquer and kill whoever they want, just like they do today. They're they had councils, they had chief councils, and I've heard that a lot of our government, even to this day, is kind of based on some of those early American Indian tribe council meetings, the way they conducted themselves.
Well, we had the Pendragons, I think, which was slightly before royalty, and they were the eyes and the ears of the poor. And if you had a legal problem or anything like that, you went and see a Pendragon, and they would listen to you, and they'd try and help you if you were poor.
Yeah,
that was the way it was. But
that's like Karl Lueger in Vienna in the turn of the century, in the 1900s. That's how he became known. He was a servant of an attorney for the poor. He would take on. He wouldn't take rich clients. He would always look for the poor people, and that's what made him so popular, to the point where he became the mayor of Vienna, and was looked up to by everybody, even Uncle Adolf and that crowd kind of.
Really?
But at the same time, they didn't follow his example exactly. But I was reading a bit about Karl Lueger and Adolf Hitler. He admired him, but he went against him because Carl Luger was too Catholic. But toward the end, I think it was like in 1943, he wrote in, I think either his diary or mentioned it to in some speech he gave, where he said if Carl Luger had lived longer and governed this country, there would have been no World War I, and hence no World War II.
Well,
so,
apparently,
and that was somebody who went to the poor as a lawyer to help the downtrodden people, the people affected by usury and prostitution.
Well,
so
look, that's interesting.
We
yeah, we need people like that. I mean, Lloyd George was overheard saying during World War One, if people knew the truth about this war, that it'd be over tomorrow. He's actually overheard saying that, and that is documented him saying that. But you were talking about that port. Now, there was a chap called Perfumo, and in 1962 there was a bit of a scandal with him with Christine Keeler. And my uncles, who were comedians, obviously they made whoopee out of that. 3 of them. But the thing is that John Perfumo left public office in disgrace, because what he was having sex with a girl who was also, she was a cool girl, who was having a relationship with a senior Russian. And this was the height of the Cold War. And as Perfumo, I think he was something to do with the Ministry of Defence. He could have been, trading secrets. They didn't know. But anyway, what happened is he dropped from public office and he went to Toynbee Hall, which is in the East End, which is a place where it serves soup to the poor and helps the poor. And I worked with somebody who actually lived in the East End and knew Toynbee Hall and used to go there, and he knew John Perfumo. And he said that he was well liked by all the people, and poor people that didn't have 2 openings to rub together. I mean, I think he was a lawyer. He would give free legal advice and defend them in court. And I also knew an architect that knew him and praised him to the hilt, and because he had buildings built for the underdog. And he dropped from grace, and he paid society back by being a kind man. And apparently he even did the washing up in Toynbee Hall and scrubbed the floors. And so I've got quite a bit of respect for John Perfumo, even though people say, bleeding MP and things like that. But he did his bit. And
that's just it. Anybody can change for the better.
Changed.
Especially these people in politics that have a change of heart and see the corruption and say, I'm out of this. There are lots of people that are like that. I think Charlie Kirk was like that.
Oh, yes. Yes, I think
they change of heart, and then it's like, well, okay, you're gone. I think that happens too often.
I agree with you. Now, Mike Mantis said Nixon rang the Apollo 11 crew on the moon as well. Yes, he did.
I'll play the devil's advocate here.
Cool bottle around the corner. Sorry, yeah.
Well, wait a second, though. You can always take the world's fanciest radio and patch it into the telephone network. So
yes,
that kind of solves that. But then again, the delay, I think there was an issue with that.
But of course, the theory is based on what they were telling us, is that the moon's out in space, and if they'd never been out there before, they wouldn't know whether the signal would be able to get from the moon back to the Earth. So it would be an unknown, wouldn't it? Because in theory, if it's gravity is bullshit as well. That's all down to density. But if there's no gravity between the Earth and the Moon, then the radio signal, in theory, wouldn't transmit, would it? Because it can't. Doesn't it transmit through air? And there's no air between the Moon and
vacuum, especially a vacuum. But
I know that these old ham radio guys would sit and bounce signals off of the Moon, but that's the old Morse code type pulse signal type stuff.
Beep, beep, beep.
Yeah.
But
I have a quick question for you both, and for the audience actually. On the back of, I was saying earlier on in the show about the timeline being wrong. There's a lot of mechanical clocks around this area where they've all been stopped on churches and on clock towers.
Stopped?
I've noticed that. Yeah, they're stopped. Yeah.
That
used to be illegal. Did you know that they used to have to cover a clock up if it was wrong? Sorry, carry on, mate.
That was a question I was going to ask to you guys and to the audience, is whether anybody else has noticed that churches in their area have been stopped, where the clocks have been stopped, or clock towers have been stopped because of that. Because potentially that would give the game away that we're not in the time line that they tell us we are. I mean, today's to me has flown past. And I'm sure there's times when the time that we see seems to speed up, and then other times it seems to be really, really slow. As though it's sort of
I agree with you.
counterbalancing itself out. But of course, the mechanical clocks would then be wrong, or they'd be showing the wrong time, or maybe they'd be showing the correct time.
It used to be elite when people couldn't afford watches and things like that and relied on, sort of public clocks. It used to be illegal to have a clock that was wrong, and they had to cover it up, and they could be done by the law. Now people have got their own clocks. I don't know whether it's still on the stash-up books or not. I don't know, but that it used
we should
to
go
be
back to hourglasses.
That's a good idea.
You get your wrist instead of a wristwatch, you have your wrist hourglass, and you just hold your hand out all day in the same position.
Well, they had a sundial. Do you know on the what was that ship that sunk off of Portsmouth now? Mary Rose. The Mary Rose. They found that the sailors had sundial wristwatches. Seriously. So they sort of, moved it around the sun to see what time it was. And they actually found these wristwatches that were sundials. But back to the Perfumo affair, it was Christine Keeler that was supposed to be. Apparently, she wasn't a prostitute; she was a good time girl. But my uncle was. Do you want to hear a filthy joke? It's just between us, all right. So everybody else, fingers in ears, please. And if there's any children in the next room, please. Christine Keeler, you see, this is one of my uncle's old jokes. She was, at the time, people thought she was having a good time with most of the MPs because they had these wild parties and that. And she went to a gynecologist. He sort of examined her and he said, well, because she had a splinter in a certain embarrassing area. And he said, well, madam, that's not a splinter. That's half the cabinet. Sorry.
That's bad.
Nah, it's a bit old, that one, yeah. But I think it was a bit of a belter when my uncle said it, But
below the belter, you mean?
Yes, below the belter, yes. But was it Cambridge 5, John Le Carrier, Cornwell? Yes, there was a Cambridge 5. They were all the spies. Alice Gould said Alice Goulder's serpent worship was about before Christianity.
Well, the staff of Aaron turned into a serpent, I think, in the story of Moses and Aaron. I mean, serpents are common biblical type of,
I don't like
allegory. I want to say
that's right, but I don't like that religion where they dance around with snakes because it's quite cruel.
Which one?
I don't know what religion it is, but I think they mess in America where they dance around with rattlesnakes.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a type of Protestant Christian.
Is it?
They'd sit and they'd have a snake and I forget what that's called. We have all sorts of weird religious nuts. We're full of them. We got all of them from you.
But
you sent them in.
Well, that's right. We exported them. We're very good at exporting nutcases.
But not just from there, but
yeah. But apparently rattlesnakes are, so I heard, I could be totally wrong. Was it Raimi or someone like that? Said they were quite placid and they rattle to tell you that they're there and to sod off.
Stay
basically.
Away from me.
Stay away, which is quite nice, really. But they
Raimi, he probably ate them, didn't he?
I don't know if
he used to eat everything else.
Yeah. But
I've never had snake. I don't think I want to try it either.
No, I've had octopus though. I've eaten octopus in Greece.
Oh yeah, I've had that calamari.
And
squid.
Yes. Now where are we? This is very true. Blu-ray says we're not just transmitters; we carry a high vibration. Yes, everything is to do with vibration, and I find
we are spiritual creatures with body and soul, and the soul. The body is the form of the soul. Think about that.
And of course, go back when we talk about wars. That's why they destroyed a lot of the bells, wasn't it? Because the bells in old world buildings would help keep us healthy. The vibrations on it would keep us happy and well. And and that obviously they had to destroy that so
And
they could
wake
bring
us
in
up.
Big Pharma.
Yes, well, my grandparents lived opposite a church.
Yeah.
My granddad, after a hard week's work, used to get really fed up because every Sunday morning he'd be ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. Well, I remember going to Russia, and I went to a Muslim village, and they'd have the call to prayer in the middle of the night. Yeah.
Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah.
Really?
You get used to it after a while. You do,
Yeah.
but it's kind of unnerving in a way in the middle of the night.
Apparently they got that down in Regent's Park, haven't they? They got somewhere in there. They got a mosque down there with all stand up.
Yeah.
But now, where are we? It's also about Piers Morgan here. Where it is? Here we are.
He's a tosser.
Piers Morgan is a boomerang nutcase, calling it DJB2.
Pierce Morgan?
Piers Morgan is a
yeah.
twat.
Have you ever seen...
Oh,
go ahead.
Carry on. No, carry on. No, I was going to... Carry on.
Okay,
we carry on like this all night, couldn't we?
Did you ever see the episode he had of, I think it was after some big shooting here in America, some school shooting or public shooting, mass shooting, and it was him and Alex Jones. And Alex Jones goes off and do a British accent. If you can imagine it, it's the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. The look on Pierce's face is just... It's hilarious. Look that up. Look that up and watch that.
I'll have to look that
Alex
up.
Jones and Piers Morgan.
Because Piers Morgan, I don't know, he looks like the office worker that's been last in at the last moment, doesn't he? Or he always looks, I don't know, not quite, a bit like David Attenborough.
He looks depressed.
Yeah,
like lack of joy in his life.
A square peg in a round hole. David Attenborough, again, when you see him in the jungle, he always looks like the office worker that's been asked in on the last vote. Yeah, I don't know anything about jungles. Well, look, just go there, David. Just read the script. All right then. No, all right then. I will read the script. Yeah.
Well, to be fair to him, I mean, when you're talking about the fairness doctrine, he's one of the few that I know of that actually will bring on people that don't think like him. So
really,
he's had on people like Candace Owens and George Galloway and those types that aren't
I didn't know
Tucker
that.
Carlson.
Yeah, because he's about 100 now, isn't he? David Attenborough, I think.
Oh no, I'm talking about Piers Morgan. Sorry.
Oh, Piers Morgan. Well, I admire that if he has people that disagree, you know. I mean, going back to what we wanted to do.
Well, that's not to say he's not compromised. I'm not,
I know what you mean. What was that you were saying about, about Edwardian and Victorian debate where everybody's, you gave a word for it. There was a, I can't remember it, what you said. There's a very, very, very good description of this polite debate. Yeah, where we have gentlemanly debate.
On television, it was a law. It was called the Fairness Doctrine.
Oh, Fairness Doctrine, yes.
If you had somebody that said, we're going to war, you had to have someone who was against the war on. That's the example I'd give of somebody. We're going to build a new monument in the town square. Then you'd have somebody that was opposed to building the monument. And it was called the Fairness Doctrine. They got rid of it in the 60s. I talked with a fellow out of Las Vegas. His name's John Barber. He used to work for CBS with all the big shots. And Frank Sinatra, you used to write for Frank Sinatra.
Really?
And he's the one that told me about the Fairness Doctrine and how the mass media just went to hell after they got rid of the Fairness Doctrine. And government, too, the coverage of government and debate on television just plummeted. And then they had all these big corporations that would come up and buy all the mom and pop radio stations that they used to have. And we've got, the equivalent of the BBC in America as a consequence of that. Because you get these big corporations that then get control of people's minds and what they see and what they get agitated about. And you don't have you don't have any fairness, of viewpoint. It's a no opposing viewpoint. No, it's all
I know what you mean.
Controlled debate.
But the thing is, it's like a Question Time. I went out to tell you, I hated that program. It was just, all I wanted was a clap. I
vain applause.
That's right. Yeah, I think everybody should be awarded a bar of chocolate every week, and old age pensioners should have someone to pick their nose for them. You know, that sort of crap. You know, oh, I think that's that's, you know, just waffle talk. And they had people on there, you know, like cross-dressing twat people, and I don't know, weirdos, and everything you could wish to think of, you know. But the thing is that to me the BBC is just inhabited by completely and utterly mental cases. That's it. But any ideas that people can have where would like to come on maybe, and they've got, you know, want to speak about something, and I'll try and be neutral if you know, and I believe that I should announce before two people have opposing views what my view is, and then say, I'm going to try and be neutral. I think that's the fairest sort of thing. But I'm trying to, you know, government and non-government, I think that will be quite interesting. So you, Patrick, you think that maybe we should have government in a way?
Yeah, I would be in on that debate and say we need government. Yes.
Would you? I mean, if I can't get these, well, I don't know. We could have two different types of debate. Would you be keen on? It would be Steve and yourself, and now Anorak, Mr. Anorak,
and we probably agree on a lot of stuff. That's the thing, you know. My idea is probably different than, you know. And
now, Paul, would you be interested? Because of something like that? Because I want to get two and two.
Possibly, yeah.
We'll have 2 and 2, and as I say, I'll have to be neutral on that one. Even though I'm totally against government, I'll be totally neutral on that.
I tend to see both sides in. I mean, I tend to see both sides of the picture, as it were, and I'll think about both sides and obviously come to my own conclusions, if that makes sense.
That's good, because Steve's coming on tomorrow night. We got Steve coming on tomorrow. And I don't know what you're going to talk about. I've just got, hang on, what have I got for
selling more Sharpie pens?
That's right. Oh, yeah, Sharpie
you
pens.
You mean self-defense items.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because now, hang on, I got my piece of paper. There we go. And tomorrow night it's
a piece of paper can be a deadly weapon.
Oh, it can.
Well,
in the wrong hands.
Newspapers could be, because they used.
That's right. The pen is mightier than the sword.
Millwall fans used to fold up a newspaper in half, then in half again. It used to end up like a truncheon. They used to go and beat the crap out of people with them. Yeah, newspapers.
Hang on, I'm wrong. It's Maleficus that's on tomorrow night. Sorry, mate.
Oh, nice.
So we've got Maleficus.
But he's a Cornwellian.
He's a Cornwellian, that's right.
Yeah.
Don't say anything about Cornish pasties, because I get very upset if you tell about a filling being the wrong filling, don't you? Because I'm not sure. Is it going to be lamb or beef?
You put a rutabaga instead of a Swede in there.
Yeah, they get a bit sort of uffy, you know. And next Sunday's free. And then Ben Emlyn Jones is coming on the 9th. And Steve is not due on until the 9th of March. So I have a bit of a mix-up there.
Well, you know, February is the shortest month of the year. So February is going to fly by quick. We're going to blink and it'll be March.
Well, Christmas has gone past pretty quick, hasn't it? You know, but so it's Maleficus tomorrow night. I'm terribly sorry. That's interesting. I don't think he knows yet. But
he's pretty good with that.
Yeah, everyone's welcome on. It's an open house. Nobody is left out. I don't believe in leaving anybody out, because I think that, you know, in life, if you've been left out yourself, which I have in other areas in my life, I know what it feels like. So I don't leave anybody out. Everybody's always
Maleficus
welcome.
And I used to play a video game called War Thunder and fly World War II era airplanes.
Oh.
Yeah, so he knows an awful lot about that. He's been playing that for years, probably over a decade since it first came out. And
what was your plane?
He's into World War I and World War II and all the, you know,
that's interesting,
all that kind of stuff. So he knows a lot about the airplanes and things in particular, because we talked for hours.
Wow, I'm an aircraft enthusiast, and especially World War I and World War II, and that's just another coincidence that Paul English has sent me the film They Shall Not Grow Old.
Yeah, he sent that to me too. I look forward to looking at that.
And I'm going to watch that when I've got time. And Hatchie has said, Arthur Pendragon is a druid at Stonehenge. He collects money from the tourists for the elders buried around it. Check out his red dragon carries a big phallic symbol on it. Check it out. That sounds a bit of a cock up, doesn't it? So there we go. So
Very good.
Have you ever seen what is it now? Oh, not the Amiga Man. What's that film with Edward Woodward in the 70s, where he's crumbs. What is it now?
Not the Equalizer.
Not the Equalizer. No, it's the one where there's pagans in this village.
Oh, with Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee. I can't think of the name.
The Wicker Man.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah, the Wicker Man. Have you ever seen the Wicker Man?
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
I haven't seen the remake, the Nicolas Cage remake, but I've seen the original.
I mean, it was well acted, but I'll be straight with you. It's a load of crap. I mean, it's because it was the Obios, which is Cornish. Story's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, he was basically, thanks Asperger's as far as he's put it down there, the Wicker Man, Blu-ray as well. Yeah. His acting was good, Edward Woodward, because have you heard the story about? He was a cop. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and have you heard the story about Edward Woodward and Orson Welles?
No, maybe I have, but
Orson Welles came over. Orson Welles came over, and he'd never heard of Edward Woodward. And they said, "You'll be acting opposite Edward Woodward." He said, "What's that? Sounds like a fart in the bath." Edward Woodward. But Orson Welles, did you know when he filmed The Third Man, his part in it only took him 10 days, seriously, to do the film, to actually act in that film. 10 days. Yeah. And the cat scene where the cat goes around his feet was accidental. The cat just came out of nowhere, and the director said, "Carry on shooting," and they left the cat in there. And it wasn't intended. That was all unintended. That was unintended. Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's back in the day when studios were actually, making pumping out all sorts of propaganda type films and stuff.
That's right. It was a good film, era. Especially when he did the camera at the angles. Because afterwards, someone sent the spirit level, didn't they? Take the piss. But apparently, it was one of the first films where they did cameras. Because you notice that there were different angles. I think it was well acted and well filmed myself, especially with those big shadows going up the walls.
Did you ever see Citizen Kane?
I saw it years ago. I can't remember it. But,
yeah. I'm trying to think. There was another one, something Darkness. I forget the name of it. It was in the 50s. It was black and white with Orson Welles. It was good. It was a good one.
Oh, he was good. But he did that one Martian attack, didn't he, on the radio? From H.G. Wells.
You know what that was about? That was part of psychological warfare.
Yeah.
Yeah, with like Theodore Adorno and all these, the Frankfurt School type people and CBS. What they were doing was they were getting people prepared to go to war with Germany. And it was a test to see people's reaction to an actual, battle reporting of Germany. And when people tuned in, they believed that Germany had attacked. They didn't think it was aliens when they were listening to it.
Really? I didn't know that.
They did it in such a way that they believed that the Germans had attacked America.
Unbelievable.
And so lots of people were frightened, and because they thought that Germany had actually invaded America.
They did similar in this country in, I think it was the 80s, where they made out that they did a play about a nuclear attack. And people that tuned in late thought it was a genuine nuclear attack. And there's a load of people treated for shock and everything.
Who did the War of the Worlds story? He was the Fabian Society guy?
H.G. Wells. Yeah, he was brought up, I think, in Bromley in Kent, H.G. Wells. He was Fabian, yeah. And
he did another one that was super relevant to the war that was going on. I think it was called Things to Come.
That's it, Things to Come.
Things to Come. Yeah, and that had space travel in it with the rocket going up to the moon.
And my granddad used to say, if you reach H.G. Wells, it'll send you mad if you believe half the stuff he says. I'll never forget that.
Didn't he do The Invisible Man too? That was
I couldn't see anything in that.
Couldn't see anything in it.
No, I just couldn't see anything in it. No. So that's right. But
Maybe that's the problem.
But you had George Bernard Shaw.
Superman. Yeah.
No, George Bernard Shaw. He was the writer, wasn't he? He was Irish.
Yeah, but he did
lived in
play the
Hertfordshire.
Superman.
Did he?
Yeah.
And he was a vegetarian. He ate nuts all the time, and he was bleeding nuts. Because I actually went to Shaw's Corner, which is in Hertfordshire, not too far from where I live, and I couldn't wait to get away. There was something evil about the place. I could sense it.
What was it?
Shaw's Corner, it's called.
Shaw's
That's where
Corner. Isn't that where they did the Goon Squad? Or am I thinking something different?
No, I don't know. But Shaw's Corner is in Hertfordshire, and I went there once, and I never wanted to return. I thought, ooh, something evil.
Do you find get that with certain places?
Oh, yeah.
Certain places, certain buildings, certain towns. I mean, like Liverpool, I always think you get a good vibe there. It's an old world place, and it's nice feeling there. But Birmingham, we go to, and you think, get me back out of it. It's fucking shithole. All my friends would, yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I went round. Have you ever been round the Birmingham Ring Road, which I have? Bleeding ages you sit on there. Oh, it's horrible. And it's driving. It's like being on the Indianapolis. It is. Yeah, there's cars coming all over the bleeding place. It's horrible.
Yeah,
but
it's
Birmingham,
not a very pleasant place, it has to be said.
I tell you, so I think is the most overrated city in the world is London. I can't stand the place. Really can't stand it. I think it's a horrible place. It's just.
Why is that?
People say it's a shithole. Seriously.
Okay. I guess.
I mean, there's this sprawl as you go by train into London. There's a sprawl, buildings, and then when you get there, you got the posh bits, yes.
Yeah.
But there's signs everywhere telling you what to do and what you can't do.
Oh.
Do this, do that, don't do. Oh, it's horrible.
Do you know? I always find, obviously, I go down to London fairly regularly by train, obviously, and it's as though when you travel down there, you're sort of in the countryside, and then all of a sudden you're in London. So, like, if I come down into Marylebone on the Chiltern line, you're pretty much in countryside all the way through Banbury, Bicester, all the way down there, and then you suddenly get to Ruislip, and the tube sort of the underground starts there.
That's
and
right.
It's weird. It's just like it's as though there's a border. There you go. There's London. And the same if you come into Euston, you sort of travel through Hemel and places like that, Watford, and then you got to sort of get south of Watford, sort of Harrow area, and that's it. It's like concrete jungle everywhere. It's weird.
One thing about American cities is that you go from one city to the other, and they're almost all the same. It's like there's no character. They're all the same. They've got the same type of shops. They got the same type of atmosphere, and the interstate system makes them all just like one as good as the other. The only thing different might be the weather.
And it's all done on a grid system, isn't it, in America?
That's right.
You have the blocks.
But London is oldie worldy.
It's like a fractal.
Do you feel filthy though when you come from a city? I mean, you can smell London before you get. I find you can smell it. You go there, and you just feel grimy all the time. It's horrible.
The one thing I do enjoy about London is the fact that you've got a lot of independent cafes and shops, and I mean, like my walk back if I walk from Baker Street back to Marylebone, I go past a little place called the Forest Garden, and they do veggie, vegan stuff, but it's all healthy. It's a little gold mine in a sea of Freemason houses, should we say? But it's a lovely place, and you can get all lovely fresh drinks, and it's amazing. I do enjoy London. I have to say, I do enjoy it. But
have you ever heard in the Freemasonic lodges that they would hold their meetings to coincide with the moon, to have a full moon? And I mentioned this because right now I got an alert on my phone because I get an alert for full moons. It's complete full moon at the moment.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, talking about full moons, Hatchie said in A Wicker Man, he said Bridget Eklund's bum was lovely in The Wicker Man. Yes, no, it was a body double. Seriously, you went in the nude scene in The Wicker Man, it was a body double. It wasn't.
And it was totally uncalled for too. But then again, I guess it was part of the plot because they were pagans, neo-pagans.
But
how do you apply for that sort of job? I mean, and just look through the classifieds in the back of the newspaper, think bum required for scene in movie. Oh, I'll go for that.
And also in The Third Man, the scenes down the sewers weren't sewers. They're actually, it's an underwater river that goes through Vienna, and it's not a sewer. But they said it, and and there's a
What was it
scene
used
where
for then? For commerce?
no, it's there was a river that flowed underneath the
Right,
Vienna,
but
and
why did they have tunnels?
to channel the water, I suppose, like the River Lee. Sorry, not the Lee, the River. Fleet, which goes down Fleet Street in London. That's apparently tunnelled.
Was The Third Man filmed there?
No, it was actually filmed on location in Vienna.
That's what I mean.
And also part of it was filmed in London as well.
Oh, okay.
And there was, for example, no, it's perfectly okay. I mean, Orson Welles, another bit where the last scene where he's grabbing onto the railings and there's dirt in there. That was actually filmed in Pinewood Studios in London. That wasn't in Vienna. And there's other scenes where they're climbing, going down the stairs. That was all done in Pinewood Studios in London.
What did you think of his accent? Because to us Americans, he seemed to have a British accent.
Oh, he sounded English to us. Christopher Reeve did as well. Christopher Reeve had a British accent. He didn't sound American at all.
Right.
And a very mild one. But I know that in parts of New England, people do have British accents. Some, in certain parts.
Where?
Very, very English. New England.
New England. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. They do. I mean, I think the accent sort of gets more and more broad the further south you go in America. It's a bit like in this country, I mean, the amount of accents we have in this country are phenomenal. It is just a small island. You got the Scottish.
That George Formby song that you used for the
Lancashire.
Intro, that's an actual Lancashire accent. He's mimicking.
That's Lancashire, yeah.
Okay.
That's Lancashire. And Lancastrians can't stand Yorkshire people. And there's been a war between Yorkshire and Lancashire for bleeding years. And I know that there was a comedian, Les Dawson. He couldn't stand down south, couldn't stand Southerners. And when I think his daughter was born, he rushed his wife back up north so she could be born up in Lancashire, not down south. And there was a Cornish comedian, I can't think of his name now, and he couldn't stand anywhere else but Cornwall. I don't blame him, actually, because I like Cornwall. No, and what is it now? Mike Mattis says, Britt Ekland had a body double. That's right. I think she was a stripper. I don't know whether she's a stripper or not. And Hatchie said that Wicker Man starred Christopher Lee, proper occultist, related to Ian Fleming. Honest, check it out. I didn't know he was related to Ian Fleming.
Yeah, he was in all those Hammer films, the horror films, like Dracula is the most famous one that he did.
Yes.
I can remember.
Yes.
Besides wasn't he in Lord of the Rings? He was a wizard.
I've never seen Lord of the Rings. But
the new one, the Peter Jackson one?
No,
you never saw those?
No.
The new ones. You should, if you're ever bored, you should watch them. They're good. If you haven't read the book, I've never read the book.
No,
I read The Hobbit, and that was it. But I saw the movies. They're quite good.
Well, so I did see the book, The Lord of the Rings, but I thought it was Elton John's autobiography.
That's terrible.
So is it my funny bone, that one? Elton John's autobiography. By the way, have you seen Elton John recently? Bleeding now. His eyes off. He's really looking old, isn't he? Sort of crotchety,
hunched over, walking. Yeah. Walking like he's had a life of...
He's probably used to that.
Why does he wear that bloody silly earring in his ear? Silly.
So he's gay.
Does he? Oh.
So
Christopher Lee's... Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, well, it's like Liberace is the same way.
But did you know that Liberace, he was very, very ill, and there's a mystery why he was very, very ill. And he's getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And the reason why... no, it wasn't syphilis. Well, it might have been. I don't know. But it's because he had his costumes. He had these big flamboyant costumes. Dry cleaned every day. And it's the dry cleaning... chemicals that made him ill. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Now, Christopher Lee is cousin to Ian Fleming. I didn't know that. Well, I didn't know they were so closely linked. Now, Hadji said, we've got Greggs in charity shops in England, in our towns, cafes, pubs are all shutting down. I agree with you. They are, which is sad. And you can't get, once upon a time, this country was noted for what is called pub grub, good pub food.
Yeah.
Not any longer.
Americanization.
All you'll get it's horrendous. You know, you'll order it and about 3 minutes later it's put on your table. That's why I don't go to pubs. And it's all shit. Yeah, basically shit. And it's
we
a disgrace.
On a Sunday, I do a stand-up park occasion with a couple of people in Telford, and we pop to Weatherspoons, and I sit and have a chat with them. But they'll have a breakfast of some sort, and it comes out, and I'd need at least 20 guesses to guess what the food actually is. It was
well, hey, think about this. I've been looking at I like to find a good recipe every once in a while. I'll go online and find a recipe.
Yeah.
I recently, out of just curiosity, started getting AI suggested recipes. Some of these are just terrible. The AI will give you a recipe and you don't know where you're getting it from. It's just created based on the accumulated data of all these other recipes, right? I think that could be the future of all of these. Like you said, Greggs. I know what Greggs is because you told me about it. But just think about this. These big corporations then rely on AI for their recipes, and then we're getting AI slop. And it's just like, literal
you're
slop.
Spot on. I mean, let's face it, a couple of years ago, nobody knew who Greggs was. You wouldn't see it. And suddenly it's sprung up all over the place. Everywhere you go. Do you know, even in bleeding Waltham Abbey, they got one. I couldn't believe it. I thought,
you walk in and buy there, like it says, like the chicken bake, and it says underneath, warning: this may contain chicken.
It probably hasn't got chicken in it. That's right.
It's probably never seen a chicken in its life.
That's right. Well, they sell. They actually sell. What was it? That shit, Greggs shit in Iceland, not the country. The supermarket
store.
Called the store. Yeah, mind you, they don't sell much stuff that's much cop in there anyway. But now, what we got? Oh, by the way, it was Jethro. That was a Cornish comedian. Thanks, Hadji. Yeah, he was. Oh, bloody hell! Mike Manners said, "I remember Elton John and George Michael's song. I won't let your sun go down on me."
Oh, come on.
Now, Ian Fleming's brother, Peter's daughter. Ian Fleming's brother's daughter was in the old BBC TV show Survivors. Not many people know that. But it's something I will not have in this country unless it's organic, and that is chicken, because all you're eating is growth hormones. I guess it's the same in the States, and it's Patrick, growth hormones with wings.
Yeah, you don't know what you're getting, and we were talking to the Bowler Hat farmer Mark.
Yeah,
and he's talking about the yolk bright that they feed the chickens to make the yolks look abnormally
that's right,
bright orange. And I've noticed that in some of the chicken eggs that we've gotten lately, and it makes me wonder.
It makes me wonder.
Yeah.
Even the organic ones, you have to wear sunglasses so bleeding bright sometimes. This bright yolks. I'm joking, but
Well, I said to you off air, like Chris, I said that maybe the next step along that line for the Bowler Hat farmer is, alongside the food finders hub, is also the clothes side of things. Like I said, with obviously,
I agree with you.
If sheep are slaughtered for chops and whatever, obviously turn the wool into blankets and stuff and start selling them. I'd buy one. I'd buy one tomorrow if one was available.
Well, there was I'll spell it out, REDICE Creations, which I can't mention on obviously here because they're banned almost everywhere. The wife of the chap who runs it, she did a thing with llamas, didn't she? She was trying to do, I don't know if she still does, with clothing and things, but getting actual genuine wool stuff that's not mixed fibre is very difficult. I guess you find it in the States, don't you? Oh, you're right.
No, even here it's expensive, and I follow because I'm interested in that kind of thing, the textile as much
Yeah.
as the food. It's definitely more expensive, but it's better quality, and not many people are doing it. That's why it's so expensive, because it's all this artificial textile.
Yeah.
You know,
Which is bad for you.
well, yeah. Well, it's not only that; it doesn't keep you warm like the wool does. There's something about wool, whether it's llama, buffalo, sheep, that or goat, for that matter, cashmere, that it's just you can't mimic that
I
same
agree
sort
with
of
you.
insulation
Or
properties,
kapok.
except in nature. Oh, that's
And
natural though.
Kapok is natural. It comes from the
Yeah.
trees, and apparently that's what helped American Army in World War II. They had
But
kapok.
like polyester and that
Oh,
kind
that's
of
crap.
that's what I'm talking about. Where it's rayon or any of those. It's like you're messing with it, with the nature in a way to
And what we,
manipulate it.
And you can't
And what we-
perspire. You perspire. You're dripping wet with perspiration because
Right,
it just
like
does
nylon.
not breathe.
Yeah.
Nylons are terrible. Do you remember nylon shirts?
Yeah.
Bloody horrible.
I can't stand them. Yeah, you
I
get
can't.
sweat and you just feel like you're sleeping in cold sweat, or
Yeah.
it's no fun.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Sorry, Paul. I chimed in on
no, I
you,
was
there,
just
mate.
saying that with obviously they've done a good job of coating our bodies with plastics in everything we wear and stuff like that. And then going back to the natural stuff like animal hides and things like that, would get us back or would keep us vital. I suppose it helps with how we feel on a day-to-day basis. And
I agree
well,
with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it would help the environment.
Yeah.
You'd have farmers. You'd help the farmers because they raise lambs and sheep, and you're known over there for sheep and wool and that kind of thing. And was Liverpool
Look at New
was one of the
Zealand.
biggest. Yeah, New Zealand now.
And I mean, I
They've
remember
taken over.
when my sister was born. I think it's either Australia or New Zealand was sending real wool blankets over, and because my sister was born on Boxing Day, which is the day after Christmas, not Christmas Day, my mum missed out on a blanket. She always said that. So all the babies that were born on Christmas Day got a blanket. But I've got I got them from my parents before they died. I was sort of they left for me, and I've got real wool blankets still, and they're bloody marvellous. They really are. Whitney blankets. Whitney was the place for blankets, and they're 100% wool. And this mixed fiber stuff is just crap. It really is.
But it's expensive. I was watching a YouTube video of this gal in London that was spinning like the old spinsters would do with the wheel, and she said a pound of wool was £100.
Bloody hell.
You know, that was common price for a pound of
100
wool
quid.
yarn.
Well, I was watching some farmer in, I think she was in Southern Ireland, and she was saying that she got all this wool, and she was basically using it as fertilizer because nobody would take it off her hands. And I thought that's what triggered me to think, well,
What a
that's what
waste.
the Bowler Hat farmer should be looking at. Is
That exactly.
Yeah.
You're
I
right.
so
agree
rather
with you.
than using it as that, get it made into clothing and blankets and stuff. And
That's like
It's
we'd
what we
hear about
want.
the Indians. The Indians wouldn't let anything go to waste. They'd use every part of the animal because of necessity and the lack of scarcity of being hunter-gatherers. They were dependent on the season for hunting. And so they'd have to use every little bit of animal, bones, whatever it was, fur.
That's right.
And the more you can do that as a farmer, I just remember we had cattle and pigs, and I remember throwing away the stuff that we considered waste, the entrails and the bones and everything. And you look at all the things that can be done with it, the skin, the leather material comes from the cows. And they just go to waste because it's like we don't have the infrastructure or anybody around here that does that.
I was just going to
You
say
know,
that
local
that's the
butchers.
problem, isn't it? Is all the I mean, like Manchester was renowned for its woolen, its cotton mills and so on and so forth. And without the industry or the manufacturing to go with that, I suppose that's where the problem lies. And of course, our governments have done their best to remove all our manufacturing, and I suspect it's the same in America as well.
I agree with you. I mean, look at Leicestershire. Leicestershire was shoes. that's famous for shoes. You got all your shoes from Leicestershire, and in Manchester, as you say, it was wool and things like that. But I mean, army surplus. Now, all right, you don't want to go down the road looking like as you just come from the front, but the fact is, I get a lot of army surplus stuff because it's so bloody well made, and it is wool. It's genuine wool. A lot of Swedish army surplus is 100% wool. I got some Arctic socks the other day, army surplus. They're brand new. They're just overstocked and things like that. I mean, look at that Gabardine trench coat I bought, American one. That was very reasonable, and
but it wasn't new.
That is real Gabardine. It was new, yeah.
It was new. I mean, when was it manufactured?
My guess, this is only a guess, I think it was manufactured in the 70s because when they stopped the draft, they still had to complete the orders. So there's a lot of army surplus from when the draft was stopped. If
you had the equivalent new, just imagine how much that would cost.
Well, it was new. It's been storage.
But by what I mean, new manufacture.
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood. Please excuse me. Sorry, that's very rude of me.
Like a new manufacture, because you're paying for labor, essentially. Anything like that. You know, the wool itself, it comes from the animal. Animals, breed.
Yes.
You don't, it's like a farmer. A farmer gets seed and then get tenfold the amount they put
you're right. If that was made today, as I say, that sounded very rude of me. I do apologise.
No. I just confusion. That's all.
Yes, if it was manufactured today, it would cost a fortune.
Right.
But you see inside,
as it should, I think.
You see all the labour. It tells you how to wash it and things. But it's gabardine, actual real gabardine, which you just don't get now. I've also got an Austrian woolen jacket. Army surplus, which was brand new, which was, I think, 80s, and beautiful quality, absolutely unbelievable.
Well,
quality.
They say that for, I think, an ounce of gold comparison for the inflation and that kind of thing, the things that don't inflate with the changing times, you can buy a suit, a decent dress, coat and all that, pants, for an ounce of gold. And even back in the day, it was the same standard of an ounce of gold for a decent suit, made in a haberdashery type. And that today, you could go in with an ounce of gold to a haberdashery and get a decent suit. Look at what the price of gold is right now.
Well, that's right. It's gone down a little bit, though.
But still, over here, I think it's like over $4,000 per ounce.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a nice suit right there.
Well, Warhead Rex has said, what about Harris Tweed? Yes.
Yep, Harris Tweed.
And apparently it was the reason they got the word tweed, it was a corruption of a word. They got it wrong. I think it's called twill. They called it tweed. And that's how they got the word.
Just the accent, yeah.
Yeah, it's an accent.
Well, it was nothing to do with Berwick upon Tweed then, because we got the river. Is it the River Tweed?
Yeah, you got a point there.
Where's that?
Berwick upon Tweed.
North of Newcastle, so it's border between
Scotland,
England and Scotland on the east coast.
Well, then maybe that's why it's coming from up there. Because you could get a decent jacket. I was looking at them from the Outer Hebrides where they'd make them.
Yeah.
And it's 300, 400 quid for a nice tweed jacket, which isn't too bad.
It's not too bad. What about import fees, though, and things like
that? For shipping, well, that's just it. I don't know what that would be, but still, it isn't too bad compared to some of the prices I've seen. It's over $1,000 for a decent jacket made of tweed material.
Well, look at the idea of importing from Russia, those sort of things.
Yeah, it's cheaper. We got banned off of Facebook Marketplace because we were selling fur hats from Russia, like sealskin and wolf and all that.
There's a name for them, isn't there? What they call them? Those special hats with the flaps that come down.
Ushanka. They're called an Ushanka.
Very warm.
Yeah, the Russian hat, the pilot type hat.
You can't get them made out of rabbit's fur, which I think they were originally done.
You can.
Can you? The name generally the army surplus ones are synthetic. So,
yeah. Well, that's like here. You can't find them with real fur, and I was importing them. No problem importing them, but they just didn't like the fact that it's Russian and it competes with the people here, I think is what it was.
Really?
I don't think it was a matter of fur or not, because they sell fur on Marketplace and Facebook. I think it was just the fact that it was from Russia, and it undercut the prices so much because it's so much cheaper to get them from Russia.
Well, it's
And,
like
I've got
sorry,
a nice sealskin flat cap type hat. I've got silver fox ushanka leather, and then it's silver fox fur. Yeah, they're beautiful. They keep me warm in the winter time. It can be 30 below out, and I'm nice and toasty.
Oh, lovely.
That's the best.
Oh, you're right. And the good thing is, because it breathes, you don't get over hot. Whereas if you've got bloody synthetic crap on, that's right. You know?
Yeah, it's like in summertime with a tweed jacket. It actually, you stay cool because you maintain your body temperature. It radiates, and it prevents the heat from coming in, just as much as in the wintertime it prevents the heat from escaping.
Yeah, it's marvelous. They reckon, I think the Eskimos, they have these skin boots, and they say don't wear socks with them. You put them in, put barefoot in them, because apparently it's better insulation. So that's something rather interesting.
I guess does that get the seal of approval then?
The seal of approval.
And now Matilda Wadret says, I have a sealskin coat from over 40 years ago. Still looks great. Yes. Yes, a lot of that stuff does look
That's why these things are so expensive, too. That's part of the reason. They retain their value. It's a good investment.
Yes, and oldies are the besties. Well, I've got a coat, a black trench coat, now this is going back a hell of a long time, which was my dad's, made by John Collier. John Collier, the window to watch. That was their advert. And they went bust, bloody hell, 40, 50 years ago. Fits because I'm absolutely the same build as my father was. And that is, the quality on that is incredible. You'd never get quality like that nowadays. It's very sad.
That's what we got to build up, though. We got to, like you said, talk to Mark. Get farmers together with the textile people that do the knitting and all that.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea, Paul. That really is a brilliant one, because we need to get woolen blankets, woolen goods, and things like that. Because I am sick of synthetic crap. Marks and Spencer's or Marks and Expensive, as I call it, which is the shop which they make phenomenal profit, and their clothing is
mediocre.
Yeah, mediocre crap. And I actually got a trench coat off of eBay. It's very cheap. I think it was about
eBay's good
$20.
For that.
It's about $20, something like that. Yeah. And it was an Irish version of Marks and Spencer's, which I didn't know existed, and it was a cancelled order or something. Anyway, I got it, and it was 60% wool, mixed fibres, which I thought was handy, just going down the shops and things like that. And then I went into the Marks and Spencer's near where I live, and they've got exactly the same jacket with a difference, and it's all polyester, and inside the label it's advertised 100%. Was it polyester rich material?
Rich?
If it's something, polyester rich. That's the exact words. I should take a picture of it to prove it, because it's polyester rich. Yeah, unbelievable.
Talk about advertising slang.
Yeah,
get you to buy some crap.
And quite honestly,
Rich.
This coat, I put
Luxury.
it on. It's thin. It's all right. It's 60% wool, but it's sort of.
It's still
got no body.
Still natural. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's only 60%. That's the thing.
Right.
But the thing,
like, why not just make it 100% and sell it for a bit more?
Well, that's right. That's right. Woolen. Again, I've got a woolen suit. I went to a funeral the other day. My neighbour's son unfortunately passed away, so I went to his funeral. And this woolen suit is pretty. I wouldn't say it's that cold, but it's about 7 degrees above. And I put this woolen suit on. Boy, it's lovely and warm. It really was. And because it's nice to get the old suit out. I call it the christening's, wedding and funeral suit, all for the same person. So you're walking around. But
Yeah, why not?
Well, I went shopping afterwards.
Buried in style.
Yeah, and I went shopping afterwards. And when I walked into the supermarket, I noticed people treated me differently.
Yeah.
Because I had a suit on.
They're more respectful because you're more respectful to them. They have to look at you.
Yeah.
They probably thought the mafia had turned up. Thought, shit, we better be kind.
Excuse me, sir. You get better customer service that way.
Best to wear dark glasses when you walk in. Yeah. And sort of elbow people out the way as you walk along.
We've come for our protection money. Hand it over.
Did you ever see that Monty Python scene where you had the mafia going into the army? And there's army recruit. Yeah, they said, "Was it your tanks might break?" Like, so you know, we need to sort of,
the mafia's insurance salesman to the.
What are you doing here? And the other one was it the bloke who said, "I've been in the army 3 days. I want to leave." He said, "Why?" He said, "Well, he said all I wanted was the water skiing and all the holidays and things like that. But I didn't really sign up to kill." But he said, "Those guns, they're dangerous. They could kill someone." He said, "I didn't sign up for that." And the recruiting officer says, "What? Are you a pacifist?" He said, "No, I'm a coward."
Well, the mafia and the insurance companies are probably one and the same when you think of it. I'm probably stating the obvious, naive, in a naive manner, but it's true. It reminds me of there was a time at our business where we had switched insurance companies, and it was Aflac was the name of the company, and these guys that come in, they're like thugs, and they're like, "We need you to sign this that we came here and offered you insurance, and you declined to take it." I'm like, "I'm not gonna sign any of that crap," and they just. High pressure, like they were gonna get violent if I didn't sign the thing. It was
bloody hell.
So, there's some truth to that, and it's the mafia mentality. It's like you pay us our protection money, and otherwise your shop's gonna get broken up.
Bloody hell! And I mean, car insurance in this country is a bleeding rip-off. It really is.
Well, that's a government-enforced monopoly too with the insurance companies. It's like, well, if cars cost at a reasonable price, you wouldn't have to be, worried about
a rip-off.
People not having insurance, not being able to afford to repair your Mercedes Benz, that kind of thing. It's like they shouldn't, poor people shouldn't have to suffer.
I agree with you. And in New Zealand, you can drive a car without insurance. It's perfectly legal. They've got insurance. Obviously, you've got a nice car, and it's a sort of government thing. So if you're run over by an uninsured vehicle,
it's government insurance. They just take over. It's like your health care is government run, but you still pay for it with your taxes.
Yeah, you still pay for it, and that's it. And this is the thing. But I don't know too much about it. I'm not sure if they do the same in Australia, but I know in New Zealand they do. You don't, so you can get in a car, just drive it, and don't worry about insurance. It's sort of covered. But it's
probably easier to manage too, since they're smaller.
It's any third party. You don't get anything else. It's the lowest low. But quite honestly, I don't like insurance. I wouldn't have it.
No, I don't believe in insurance.
No, they can shove it.
God's my insurance policy.
I agree.
It's also very confusing as well, because what would logically be deemed as, like, if somebody's come off onto a roundabout and not indicated, and then you pull out in front of them because they haven't indicated, because they're not telling you where you're going, and then it's your fault because
you were driving too close.
Assume that they knew where they were going. Well, that's crap. And or like at a junction, someone's left their indicator on, and you pull out in front of them, and they clobber you. Well, that's your fault because they might have left their indicator on. I'm going to say, no, it's their fault for leaving their indicator on in the first place.
Well, that's logical.
Wrong. It should be. If you've left your indicator on, and you run into
you're
someone,
at fault.
that's
yeah. It's logical. You're turning in the direction that you're indicating.
Well, that's right. I mean, many years ago, I was driving along, and I came to this roundabout, which went on to the A1M, because the A1 motorway or freeway changes from a motorway to an A road. Sorry, it goes from an A road to a motorway, you see. Anyway, you come up to this big roundabout, which I think you got them in Wisconsin, haven't you, roundabouts?
Yeah, you just reminded me of an incident. Yeah. Go ahead.
And now, I guess you've never heard of a three-wheeler Robin Reliant.
I can imagine.
Trotter's Trading. It's a 3-wheeler car. It's got 1 wheel at the front and 2 at the back.
It's a bad design. Either way, a 3-wheeler of anything is a bad design. Yeah.
It's fiberglass, and you don't see them now. I think I'm glad, but there's this elderly couple, because it was old boys who passed their motorcycle test but never passed a car test, but you could drive a 3-wheeler with a
Sure.
motorcycle license, you see.
Yeah, it's like the elderly people here.
That's right.
When they give up their Harley, go to a 3-wheeler.
We got 3-wheelers, and what happened is, 1 wheel at the front and 2 at the back is real shit. I mean,
Yes.
2 at the front and 1 at the back is a bit better, but anyway,
yeah.
3-wheelers are not allowed on motorways at all.
Really?
And they had obviously, and they were going up, obviously, approach road, and realised they made the mistake that they're going onto a motorway. So there's this woman's obviously screaming and shouting at a poor man. He turns round and goes the wrong way
In traffic,
back
yeah.
in traffic.
To the-
So there's
to
all
the
cars avoiding,
entrance.
and then he goes the wrong way round a roundabout. And there's all people
Makes
going,
it even
beep,
worse.
beep, 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 and there's cars going everywhere and all these. And there's his wife going, like this. And this poor old sob with his flat pack and his pipes. Like this. And then they eventually turn into a pub. And I shouldn't laugh, but nobody was hurt, so that was it.
Yeah.
Several years later, about 10 years later, I was working in an office. And there was somebody else that was on that roundabout that witnessed the same thing as I did. Isn't that a strange coincidence? Yeah.
Yeah, it's that rule that they can't go on the road.
That's right. But actually, on the A1 bit of the road, I was going down it once, and I saw, strange enough, a 3-wheeler that was involved in a crash, and it went up like a sort of cardboard box in the wind, and just went and landed in the fast lane of the next lane coming back. And it didn't just miss me. I was out of the way, but I saw it in my rear view mirror. And yeah, I don't know if anybody survived it. So, it's pretty awful. But our roads in this country now, with all the bleeding speed cameras and that, I think they say it's the safest roads in the world. Must be.
But then,
You think so?
our roundabouts are bloody dangerous because locally here they've decided that roundabouts aren't quite safe enough, so they stick traffic lights on them. And then when some driver clobbers one of the traffic lights and they turn them all back off, then the people who got used to the traffic lights then don't know how to use it as a roundabout. And we've also got, I don't know if it's the same where you are, Chris, but
Yeah.
some of our roundabouts now they've done the lane. So if you go into lane 1, it'll take if you go into lane 3 and you follow it, it'll eventually take you to your junction in theory.
Yeah.
But that only works to a degree because in some parts, like over by our station here, if when I get the bus back from my mum's, it comes down through a place called Stafford Park, and in order to get to the station, he has to cross over the chevrons at least 3 times in order to get there because the lanes. If he followed the lanes, he'd end up going the wrong place. So that causes accidents then because people don't know how to use them.
Well, it's like the magic roundabout in Hemel Hempstead. That bleeding thing's about 7 little mini roundabouts.
Yeah.
When I went there, I followed the bloke in front because I thought, what the bleeding hell's going on here? It's. But actually, Woolhole Rex says we have Pullman vehicles. What are they? That meter maids use. Yeah, I love them. Pullman vehicles.
Probably a 3-wheeler. Like we were talking about 3-wheelers.
Woolhole Rex. What country is this? I doubt if it's Britain. I doubt if it's America.
It could be Britain.
Don't know. Never heard of a Pullman vehicle.
I think I know what he's talking about. I think it is a 3-wheeler, like a small type of motorized vehicle.
Oh, it's America.
Thing. Smart car. Oh, it's in America.
USA.
Oh well, yeah, maybe.
What part? And you're going to answer all of you. Yeah, but that's interesting. Yes. And Hachi says, cycle clips on rally chopper bikes. I never got into chopper bikes. Were great. We were wearing flared trousers at the time. Yes, chopper bikes. They were responsible for, shall we say, lowering the population because if you pulled up quickly on a chopper bike, the gear lever at the front would eat you in the ghoulies. you know.
Are you talking about a bicycle or a motorbike?
Yeah, a bicycle, push bike. And it's a push bike that you change gear like an ordinary car. So you had this like sort of gear lever in the middle. And it had a big wheel at the back and a small wheel at the front. Mm-hmm. And kids used them. By the way, Warhol Rex says West Coast.
Okay. Oh, California?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
California, Washington, Oregon.
No, sorry, California now, isn't it?
British Columbia.
California now, is it? I think it's called. They changed it because I think it's slightly left. California.
They've been a long time. Commie. Yeah.
Who'd ever thought of that? You know, sort of.
Wasn't it the state that had Schwarzenegger as the
an actor.
Governor.
Actors should be barred from running for political office. I think the Romans had it right.
And apparently they have some rule with school buses out there in California where they have to be scrapped after 5 years, even though there's nothing wrong with them.
Really?
They do that kind of stuff. That's government bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Planned obsolescence.
Warhol Rex says Schwinn Stingray was a knockoff of rally bicycles.
Schwinn. Yeah, we had Schwinn bicycles. Heavy. Yes. These, Schwinns are heavy, and that was their downfall. It's like when you're making a bicycle for transportation, you want as light a bicycle as possible.
I agree with you. Left coast, yeah. Very coast. Left coast, yes.
Well, it's the land of granola, land of fruits, nuts, and
definitely got nuts there.
Yeah.
We had an advert, and I'm sure that was only put on one night, and it was taken off. It was banned, and I don't think there's any recordings of it. And I was off my seat.
What was it?
Laughter. It's an advert, you see.
Oh,
it starts off, you see, and this was years ago. I'm talking about 20 odd years ago, and it starts off.
Is it obscene?
No, it's not obscene.
Okay.
And you think it's a documentary because we've got channel. Well, I don't have a television, but I do. They've had Channel 4, which has always had offbeat. When it started, so these offbeat shows and programs and that, and you see these, deep down south. Is it right that Texans are supposed to be a little bit, sort of a bit dabby? Is that right? I don't know.
That's a stereotype. Yeah.
Anyway, we saw the hillbillies there, and they're saying, "Yeah," and you can hear the old crickets going and that, and they're going, "Yeah, this little fella got off of this UFO." And the film Dueling Banjos with that sort of kid
with
they were all like
a British guy made that. The same
really?
The same one that did Excalibur. John Borman.
Yeah, and apparently a genuine banjo player went behind him to play the banjo.
It's like Boss Gags or somebody like that.
Anyway, all these characters, how they got them, I don't know. They're all a bit. This is before
Earl Scruggs.
That's right. Little bits are weird. Yeah, this little fella got out this UFO and he came across there. You think, what the bloody hell is this? Then it goes to another fella with the old, the sort of bib and braces that they got,
Yeah.
Yeah, I sure this little fella coming across there. There's this
Carry
UFO.
on cowboy talk.
That's right. And you think, what the bloody hell? And he's sitting there, and it says, "Only the best nuts come from America. Get KPP nuts."
That's racist. That's racist.
Yeah, they stopped it. It was just one night.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was off my seat, crying with laughter, because I thought it was a documentary. And I thought, where these bleeding nutcases come from?
You should see some of the products from back in the day. I don't even dare mention some of them, but they're clever.
Yes.
The more racist, the more clever it is, the better, the more desirable it is to purchase it.
Was it the fruits are in San Francisco and the nuts are in Los Angeles?
Yes. When the flakes are in your
And there's some. What was the name? John's. What was it? Oh, crumbs! I've forgotten the name there. She comes from Jackson, which is a part of California, where all the forest fires. Yeah. Golden Jackson. Yeah, because that's a part.
Not that Jackson, the other Jackson.
County, I think, is in California, isn't it? You have counties in California. County Jackson.
I don't know.
I don't know, but
I don't know, but they have fires, that's for sure.
Oh yes,
over near Napa and all those places up north.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to head off in a sec if that's
anyway,
okay.
I think. Do you know it's 11:05? I think we better round the show.
How about this? Let's try as an experiment. You know what you played to start the show.
Yeah.
Did you play that to end the show? After
Why
you
not?
do your call off.
Why not? Why not? I'll just
experiment?
find it. We could do it as an experiment. Let's have a look. See if I can. No, I might have. There we go. Let's see if I can go. Oh yeah, it's working. Here we go. And we've got the Jack Elton intro. I think it's straight on the bottom, isn't it? Where is it? George, that's it. Right. Well, I'd like to say thank you, Paul and Patrick, for coming on the show. It's been a fantastic show because it's the fastest 3 hours I think we've had. It's brilliant. And we're on tomorrow again. Gentlemen, you're always welcome on. Nobody's omitted, so always welcome. There's a open invitation if you're free tomorrow, and same with yourself, Paul. If you're free tomorrow, you're more than welcome to come on with Maleficus. Maleficus is my mistake. Maleficus is on tomorrow night, and please remember to shove the old thumbs up, subscribe. Just consider it. You know, it's free of charge, and whatever happens, have a bloody good laugh. I almost forgot myself there. And good night.
Now I'm learning to love, and I'm telling you now, I know a lot of things to do now. Women all chase me around plays. I'm Lancashire Romeo. I'm learning to love, and I'm getting flirty. I want to meet one of them dear good time girties. I want to get rough, and I'll do me stuff, 'cause I'm Lancashire Romeo. I'll mix with dancers, and I'll mix with romances, and I'll know all cancers too. I'm doing my duty along with the